Blavahayi, this is the symbol of our oppression.
What's up, real world? It's me, Mr. Catalano. We riding. I just finished class. Shit is crazy these days. AI, music AI, art AI. Man, why can't they just use that for math and science? You tell me the real answer. That's all from me. Peace out to the world of the podcasters.
Fuck Wolfwalkers. Fuck animation. It's castration time.
Fuck animation. It's time for castration. Welcome back to the animated spectacular. How are you doing, 10?
Plus the SpongeBob spinoffs. I'm doing good. What did I do today? I went for a run and I got Dunkin' Donuts, and now I'm here.
That's wonderful.
I actually put myself in a mood because I've been talking to our friend Toasty about this playlist I used to have, like the 10 out of 10 songs playlist. And because they were listening to it, I've been trying to reevaluate it. And I went to Dunkin' and was like, oh, I'm gonna like listen to the songs that I think are 10 out of 10. I feel like I don't like some of them as much as I used to. I was crying on the way back from Dunkin' Donuts. I accidentally made myself emotional with some of the combos.
Oh.
But that was good.
Any specific examples?
Angel by Chuck Person into Working on Leaving the Livin' by Modest Mouse. That kind of got me.
and it hit just right with a Dunkin' in your hand. Nothing better.
Well, I like getting my Dunkin' sitting watching the cars go by. But the Styrofoam by Little Ugly Man came on, and this is like the second song I heard today. And that song is like, I mean, it's kind of like I'm gonna kill myself type song, to be blunt.
He's got a lot of those.
I mean, I'm sitting there drinking my coffee, and I'm like, oh, wow. This is not a good song to start your day. Great track, though.
But we did it anyways, and we're here. We're alive.
No, it made me reflective. It made me sentimental.
What did?
Putting on those songs. That's how I want to be for the podcast. It kind of ties into something I might get at. I guess I could get at it now, but I don't want to start taking over with all these stories immediately.
Well, we should go over what we're covering on this
Yes.
podcast. We alluded to it, but yeah, we
That sounds best.
yeah, last episode we watched, SpongeBob movies 2, 3, and 4. We mainly focus on the fourth one. This episode, we watched the 2 Netflix SpongeBob spin-off movies to everyone's joy. We watched them.
There's a lot to talk about.
There's much ground to cover. That they're very smart films for people like me that love filmmaking. And we also watched Castration Movie 1 and 2,
Talk
part
of the
1
town.
and part 2.
The cinematic event of the 2020s?
What? Which ones?
Both, obviously.
Both?
I think we're the only people to realize that you have to watch them both to get proper context.
It's true, yeah. They're both films that there's 2 of them. That might be where the comparison stops.
They're both about the struggle to stay alive in this crazy time we're living in.
That is true. I mean, they're both independent.
My favorite independent animation studio, Nickelodeon.
They just do it raw. They just tell it how it is.
This podcast might end up being like 5 hours long.
I'm in it for the long haul. I'm already regretting saying that I would edit this, but I will. But I suppose we should get into the Sandy movie, because that's the first one that we watched.
There's also something else we had to add to the itinerary, because I don't know if it's good to start with, but I did get the SpongeBob Burger King meal.
Holy shit. Yeah, no, we should start with this. Talk about this, please.
Oh, that's the important thing. Our podcast fans are like, oh, I wonder, did Joe get the SpongeBob Burger King meal?
Because I don't know if it's still available, but I didn't go back and get like the fucking pie or whatever. Like, I still only got like the yellow burger that I ate while blind.
I don't even believe it exists.
Okay, well, tell me what your Burger King experience was like.
Okay, I'm sorry. The reason I'm nervous about going first with this is because I don't want to turn into this elaborate tale that takes over the entire thing. But there is a lot to it.
Please tell it at its full extent.
It does tie back, I think, into the Sandy movie somehow.
Okay.
Because, I mean, like I was saying with Duncan, I think the easiest way for me to remember how this stuff went is with the music I was listening to, right? And basically, I joined Call, right? And it was Atomic, Ray, Serial, and Nanny, and they're playing Minecraft. And all of a sudden, I looked at the calendar, and I saw it was January 18th. And I was like, oh, fuck. Reddit said that there is only 2 more days to get the SpongeBob meal. It's now or never. So I got up, I checked in with the team. I was like, guys, I'm walking to Burger King. Yeah, it's like half an hour away. So what happens is I just leave the call. I go on the street and I'm charging towards Burger King. I just hit shuffle on my songs. And it's just so funny how, like, I'm always like hitting shuffle with how the songs kind of fit what you're doing, right? Because the song that came on when I was walking. I've been obsessed with this made-for-TV opera by Robert Ashley that I posted in Captive Unicorns, Perfect Lives, right? And in particular, I've been listening to the 3rd episode a lot, which is like, I don't know how to describe this thing. I mean, it's literally like one guy is doing this spoken word sort of TV preacher performance while another guy goes like ham on the piano. And I'm just like walking and I'm like in awe of how good the song is, right? Like,
Right.
there's a guy going like, he's like, oh, then you turn on the radio and you turn on the radio and you hear this and you hear this and it brings you to a different time. And then like it cuts to this part where it's this fake radio performance, right? Where people are doing these wacky voices and it's like, I love you like an old time melody. You cuckoo, you cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. And I'm like, you know, walking to Burger King and I'm in awe of how good this song is. It's like blowing my mind. And my point is, it's just one of those like I had heard it before, but it's one of those moments where it like clicks in your brain. It's like I'm listening to one of the best songs ever made. And
on the way to get the SpongeBob meal.
The thing is, the song is like 25 minutes long, right? So it's like the exact length of walking to Burger King. But during that, my point is, this song is like crazy, so it fits the momentum, like the delirium of the act of going to Burger King. And the thing is with the length is that I'm going through every emotion under the sun about going to Burger King. Like, I'm walking there, I'm like, they're not going to have it. Like, I'm going to walk half an hour and it's all going to be gone. And, you know, I'm having that, like, that fast food consumer guilt.
Oh, yeah. I'm
like, is this all there is to life? I'm going to get the SpongeBob meal because I like SpongeBob. That means I have to buy the product. But I keep justifying. I'm like, no, it's for the podcast. Like, it's for the experience. I have to do it. I have to complete my mission.
Right.
And
yeah.
I was checking on Reddit. There's
it's
like
important.
There's people on the BurgerKing Reddit. They're like checking in with each other if they still have the SpongeBob meal. they're like, do they still have it at your location? Like, no, mine's all out of the Patrick berry pie. And they're like, oh, we're out of the Krabby Tots. And I'm like, oh fuck. Like, needless to say, I get there, right? And this one song I was talking about ends, and it goes into this vaporwave song, by fucking oh fuck, I don't even remember the name. Doesn't matter. It goes to a vaporwave song, right? And I mean, it's one of those like perfect timings. I need to remember what the fucking name was. Sorry, it's gonna bother me.
No, look it up. Yeah.
But it's like one of those perfect. Oh, it's by Telepath, and then like you know, some Japanese letters. Telepath is the band. I needed to get that down. But it's one of those things that just fits the setting, like the complete sort of like, I don't want to say cleanliness, but like the, you know, the modern Burger King with like the screens and shit.
Like the kiosks.
Yeah, like
yeah.
It's like this is the future of fast food. And I'm ordering, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go all out, right? I'm gonna get the crab, like they have it. They have the SpongeBob patty. They have the Krabby Tots. They didn't have the Patrick pie or the pineapple shake, right?
So it was the same thing that I had.
Yeah, it's the same thing you had.
Okay.
But I was like, oh, I'm gonna go all out. I'm going to get that. I'm gonna get both of those. I'm gonna get a fucking shake. I'm gonna treat myself. And I'm ordering, and I look down at the kiosk. And I'm like, am I really about to spend $17 on Burger King? So I go back, I don't get the shake, right? And I sit down, I open the patty, and I genuinely start laughing when I'm looking at this thing. Because it looks fucking disgusting.
Yeah, I showed the picture last time. It really does not look appetizing in the slightest.
I'm like, I was about to spend $17 on this. I'm like, this looks fucking horrible. And, I mean, it really didn't matter, though, right? Because, I guess this ties back into later, but I started pretending I was Circle in Castration Movie Part 2.
Holy shit.
For the audience. For the audience who hasn't gotten
Holy
there,
shit.
like in Castration Movie Part 2, Circle just wants to eat a fucking burger, and she hasn't eaten a burger in years or whatever. So I was pretending.
I guess we should also say that this podcast will be full of spoilers.
Yeah, I mean we'll probably
for every single film. But...
Yeah, I think for Castration Movie it might be nice to break it up, but I don't think that one's too bad. But sorry,
no,
that's
spoilers.
spoilers.
But, no. If anything, it would make someone want to see it. That the main character really wants to eat a burger.
But that's what I'm saying.
That's part of her character development.
I'm like, okay, I imagine if I haven't eaten a burger in years, what would that taste like? And then it dawns upon me that I don't even remember the last time I had Burger King. I thought it was with you when we stopped at the rest stop in Illinois by the Illinois-Wisconsin border. But I checked, and that was McDonald's. That wasn't Burger King.
Right. Yeah, they only have a McDonald's there and like a fucking Panera.
Yeah, so I didn't know the last time I had it. And in a way, that made it good. I saw what you mean, that it tastes spongy, and it's weird.
Yeah.
But the Krabby Tots or whatever were good.
They are good.
I kept thinking about how you were describing what Toasty said about them, imagining Mr. Krabs with his shirt off or whatever. Because when I heard that, I was like, that makes no sense. But then when I was eating it, I was like, wait, I get it. I see it. There's something about the flavor that feels like that.
It's a luxurious food.
And, when I was done, by the time this Vaporwave song by Telepath was over, it went into DJ Sabrina, the Teenage DJ.
Classic.
Which, I've been coming back to her for a bit. And I just mentioned that because, for the audience, like, her music is extremely, like, in your face, kind of happy, right? And I used to really like her music because it was... so unabashedly joyful. But I think as time has passed, maybe with some of her newer albums, I've realized that there's kind of an interesting sort of almost facade going on, and that the music kind of leans into its own fakeness. So it simultaneously is pulling from very joyful music, but kind of acknowledging this inherent, like, corporate radio quality that's almost uncanny. And the reason I mention that is because it made me feel as if I was in this really fucked up Burger King commercial where it starts off with the Vaporwave song, and I'm in, like, this desolate city, right? Like, nothing is going right in my life. All avenues for the future are closing, and I'm at, like, the end of my rope. And I go into Burger King, and I bite into it, and, like, color comes back to the world, and, like, everybody in the Burger King starts dancing. That's kind of what it felt like. And my point with opening with this, right, is that day, I remember I came back, and I also want to acknowledge this is kind of fucked up, but I came back, and I think it was, Atomic and Ray were still there on the call, and they asked me how it was, and I felt bad because I started advertising the podcast. I was like, stay tuned next week for the story.
Where you can hear about my Burger King
Burger King experience. But, some of the things we were talking about, because I was thinking about DJ Sabrina that day, and sort of, even in Minecraft, those experiences of these things where, it's things that are inherently sort of leading into like a kind of like a fakeness, or like the digital with Minecraft, I guess it's the digital, but with like Burger King and DJ Sabrina, it's sort of like, this modern facade, if you would. And that experience of like going into that and still like finding the nuggets of actual meaning, which is what I think DJ Sabrina does. Like having an emotional experience.
The nuggets of actual meaning. Like, is that on purpose?
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Because Burger King has, yeah.
It's like having a meaningful experience at Burger King, right? And the reason I bring that up is because that's what it felt like watching the SpongeBob spin-off movies.
That is a good comparison, yeah.
Just going to this thing that means a lot to you, that obviously has been, I don't want to say bastardized.
I think it might be bastardized. I think I would probably say that.
It's not as familiar as it once was, but you're still looking for, and maybe that's like that nostalgic pain, right? But like looking for that joy. And to me, that's a good segue into the Sandy movie.
The Sandy Cheeks movie.
Yeah, I mean, my opening question would be, what do you think was the point of no return in the Sandy Cheeks movie?
Well, that's hard to say. So like it starts with a song. But a lot of these movies start with like a musical number. You know, they want to kick things off right. They want to get things rolling with a joyous little tune that little Timmy can ask for mom's Spotify account to play over and over. But I think the moment where this film lost me is when the snakes show up.
It's funny you say that, because I kind of have two. It's like a 1-2 punch. Because for me, it was also when the snakes show up. But that was like dip. It's like I didn't even know how much worse it could get, because I feel like when the family showed up, that's when I was like, it's over.
Yeah. Okay. That is probably the point of no return. But when the snakes show up, it's like, okay, what are we doing here?
The snakes,
and then the whole family shows up, and it's like it's over. We're past the point of any redeeming qualities. It's done.
Can I say something kind of psychotic about the snakes?
Always.
I mean, I have a childhood fear of snakes, right? Sometimes when you're falling asleep, you get like those hypnagogic hallucinations. And sometimes I get some of insects, or not really snakes, but I guess it's usually insects, but sometimes it's like snakes. Looking at those snakes in that film, they're so almost uncanny valley that it reminded me of that. Which is not... I don't think that was the intended effect, and it was kind of disturbing. It was hard to look at.
It is really disturbing. They're not quite cartoon. They're not quite real. It doesn't really know like what it is. I feel like that goes for this whole film. It's trying to be a lot of things at once. And we should also say what happens in that scene, right?
Should we give a general overview because people don't have to watch the Sandy movie, in my opinion. We should
we should say what happens like when we're talking about it for sure. But,
okay.
Yeah, like what is the premise of the Sandy Cheeks movie? Like it's hard for me to remember, even if it was only like half a week ago when we watched it, maybe more.
Basically, it's revealed Sandy is working for this surface organization called Boots, whose job is they sent Sandy to research underwater life, I guess. Maybe I'm confusing. There's like a fan theory about that. Maybe I'm confusing with the fan. But that's basically it, right?
No, that's correct. And like marine biology company.
Yeah. Oh, because Boots wants to turn the Bikini Bottom into the marketable Sea Pals, which we can talk more about that later. But Boots basically captures the residents of Bikini Bottom in their lab, and it's up to Sandy with SpongeBob to save the day. And in order to do that, she has to confront her family she left behind, who are circus performers.
You neglect to mention that, the marine biology company had a comically large claw that came down and just scooped up Bikini Bottom, and Sandy and SpongeBob just were not caught up in that claw.
Right. Okay. I
So it becomes a road trip movie, and they have to find where Bikini Bottom ended up. They go to the marine biology place, and they run into many trials and tribulations, my favorite phrase, on the way there.
I got confused because I was like, wait, doesn't that happen in the Plankton movie? And I guess they're pretty similar in that regard. I was like, it's the Claw in the Plankton movie or the Sandy movie?
It's in the Sandy movie.
Yeah, okay.
Everything blends together, though.
Yeah, so basically the movie is not good. My standard for animated films now is it better than Dougal? It is better than Dougal, but it comes close.
I have not seen Dougal, but maybe I can watch it for the next episode as a aside.
We're rewatching Dougal for the animation podcast. I don't know if I have it in me.
But Sandy and SpongeBob end up going through the desert for whatever reason, and they run into these snakes that are mean and want to bite them and kill them, I guess. They're just trying to fuck their shit up. And the snakes are crawling through SpongeBob's holes and shit, right? Is this...
Yes, you're right.
Okay, it's coming back to me. And then Sandy has she has a whistle that summons her family. Is that true? Like some sound that she makes that causes her entire family to just show up.
I forgot about
in a
that.
van.
I will say it does add to Sandy's character that her family is fucking annoying.
They're all annoying as shit, and it's all fake as fuck. And this is what I was talking about on the last episode, where it's like, I'm not asking for fan service. I'm not asking for every character that I know already to be in like a movie. It's fine to introduce new characters. Like we talked about Barb being a good new character that they introduced, but I don't think there was a single new character they introduced in this that was like likable in any sense.
Yeah, you have human characters.
They all just sucked ass.
I think it's bad. I was looking at the quotes. There's a part where Mr. Krabs goes, "It's some kind of unholy simulacrum." And I think that sums up the entire movie.
It's true. I mean, I don't. Another thing is I don't know why every SpongeBob movie feels like they have to do Roger Rabbit or, have like real life mixed with the cartoon. Because they do that in this not so directly most of the time. A lot of times it's like we're having scenes of like Sandy and SpongeBob, and then it like cuts to scenes of like the marine biology place, which has this evil woman who's like spearheading everything, saying like, oh, we need to turn the SpongeBob characters into sea monkeys. And then she's got these two goons that are stupid as fuck, that are just play like the dumbest characters ever. And like they said that they would like capture the Bikini Bottom, they said that they would capture Bikini Bottom because they got given a new vending machine or something like that, which I can relate to, like, because I love vending machines, but I don't think it'd be worth capturing an entire underwater city for. That's just my opinion.
The actual themes of the movie are interesting because I guess the idea is that they're trying to sell the Bikini Bottom as marketable toys. There's even a part where they're like, it's not something to be reproduced and sold. Which, I mean, looking at the movie, though, is critical of itself, I guess. It's ridiculous. I mean, they're criticizing the idea of these iconic characters being turned into, each getting their own marketable thing. But this is like the Sandy spin-off movie. It's already that. And
it is kind of fucking ridiculous.
I mean, I think a lot of movies operate on that kind of logic nowadays. Although, I guess I get it because it's horrible that it's bad, right? Because we talked about this last podcast. Sandy is shafted in every movie, right? And
yeah,
is it a crime against women that a movie is bad? Like, this is supposed to be her shining moment.
Well, I think it is directed by a woman, right?
Yeah, I mean...
So she fucked up.
No, I don't want to place the... I mean, there's a lot... you have Nickelodeon burning on your neck.
I'll place the blame.
There was a lot riding on this.
It's true, and it's so unbelievably bad. I cannot stress that. Like, I think it's been a long time since I've seen a movie this bad. And like as I talked about last podcast, I like animated children's movies a lot, and I want to like everything just in general. You could say I'm a claw full of Bikini Bottom, half full type of person, but I don't know. This just made it so fucking hard for me to find any redeeming qualities about. There's a scene where they're on an airplane, like, and they cook like hot dogs out of the exhaust pipe. Do you remember this, or am I hallucinating?
I do remember that. That made you laugh, though.
I mean, I'm trying to decipher my notes, right? And like, I just like, there's like 6 in a row that I have no idea what the fuck they mean.
No, my notes are kind of psychotic too.
Can I read some of them out?
Yeah, if I could afterwards.
Okay, here's 4 in a row, which I don't know what the fuck they mean, because like it was too long ago when I watched it, I guess. Sandy inflation, cheese boy, Sponge plucks his eyelashes, SpongeBob tickle feet. Okay, I remember that last one where SpongeBob went to a pool full of humans.
We have to talk.
And just started tickling their feet. Can we talk about
SpongeBob would not do that. I'm putting my
You don't
foot
think
down.
SpongeBob would go around tickling the feet of an entire crowded pool?
That was horrible. First off, SpongeBob doesn't even need to be in this movie at all, which I think is an important note.
Very true.
He is just he's just there, which
I
is
mean, they have to
upsetting.
have him there. He's their marketable little blob man.
Well, I think it's missing, not to pull some, the ancient text, right? But when I think of SpongeBob and Sandy's dynamic, right? I think back to the karate episode, right? And to me, that whole episode is about friendly competition and them bringing out this competitive side of each other, which kind of, there's a few episodes about that, sort of the hibernation week episode, right? Where Sandy's doing all the extreme stunts. And I feel, they divvy it up, or, SpongeBob, Sandy being scientific and SpongeBob being, blind to science or whatever. That's, always a classic dynamic. But I think of the karate one because to me, that's like that's one of my favorites with them. And I remember when I rewatched it, like, if I could say an aside, I remember it reminded me of like us playing like fighting games, right? Like that kind of like competitive dynamic.
That's my favorite, is having that friendly sort of competition in environments like that. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's just
good stuff.
That's just a classic dynamic. It's completely lost here. I'm not saying it had to be the competition one, but it's not replaced by anything.
You're right. I mean, they they don't feel like there's any like chemistry on screen, and like they're kind of just like doing things. It also feels like there's no stakes, and like nothing is really going anywhere in any direction. It's just like things are happening. Like you have like the marine biology lady who just feeds her giant fucking fish blob, and then like it's okay, wait. I think I just remembered. Don't they feed her to the fish and she becomes the fish?
Yeah, she becomes half human, half fish. Her human head is sticking out of the animated fish.
What the fuck is even, like, what is even happening? You see something like that, you're like, how do you even write something this bad? I
literally wrote fate worse than death in my notes.
That's surprising coming from you.
It was horrible. You saw it.
It was pretty fucking horrible. Like, yeah, they didn't even like make her look cartoony. I think they just like fucking put her face in the fish.
See, the stakes, that's another theme that I thought was interesting in a way, even though the idea that the plea that your science won't be used for evil, to me that's a real thing. And it's interesting to do it with Sandy. That she's trying to be this noble scientist and they're using it for some horrible marketing thing. That's like pursuing science. I think that's actually a real problem that you have to confront sometimes.
Yeah.
But like we said earlier, it already is that, I suppose, with the marketing shit.
It is wild, yeah, that the film is trying to comment on these things while being exactly that.
Well, I guess that's me trying to spin it, where I'm always trying to see if these things actually have truth to them or some real emotion, which only makes it more disturbing when you can identify what's real about it, but also how it's twisted. I mean, I don't believe in... I usually try to say I don't believe in so bad it's good, right? Because to me, if something's entertaining, it's just, it's good in some form, as opposed to being boring. But I don't know, this movie pushed it, because when it started, I found it pretty entertaining because it was just so fucking ridiculous, like the musical number, which I said it looks like MTV, how they used to do those animated music videos. There's the one for Blink 182 where it's the SpongeBob characters. It looks like
it
that.
was kind of blocked like that.
Yeah. And I'm watching that, and it's kind of horrible, but part of me is also like, this is so ridiculous. It's good, but that can only go so far. I mean, to me, like something like Sponge Out of Water, which not like a perfect movie or even an amazing movie, but that's kind of absurd in a good way. To me, this is absurd in a bad way. Like, it's baffling.
Yeah. It's definitely so bad it's bad. And it's rare that I watch stuff like that. I mean, we recently watched The Amazing Digital Circus for movie night, and I felt like that just had nothing going for it. This is like something Bulk also said, but yeah, like he just watched it and he felt nothing. I felt like I didn't feel so much like that for this film. I felt like almost offended that that this exists, you know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's sort of a bell curve to it where, to me, I mean, I'm kind of Digital Circus centrist, even though I don't like it that much, right? But
yeah,
I don't know if it makes me feel like it's offensive. But with this, it's so far in the other direction that it produces something out of me. I don't know if I like it, but it makes me feel alive, I guess.
Yeah. I can get behind that.
I think there are things that are actually worth objecting to that we've touched on. I mean, the fact that it is Sandy gets put to the side, and this is like her getting her spotlight, and they're giving it to a woman director. I think all of that actually is kind of grounds to be upset in a way. I know people would be like, oh, it's just SpongeBob, but I don't know. I think that is, like, regardless of it being SpongeBob, that is frustrating.
Yeah.
I mean, especially, there's a lot of repeated jokes, which I think those are the most offensive. Because that's, to me, bottom of the barrel. Like, they're just pulling old shit again. It's telling me the same jokes.
They always have the my leg guy.
Yeah, I mean, that one, I guess, is supposed to be a running joke, even though they've outplayed it. But, I mean, at the end, there's the part where they reference, like, Patrick says, like, oh, is mayonnaise a wire?
Yeah.
That horrible. It barely even makes any sense.
I think, like, I even if I've only seen, like, however many, like, seasons of SpongeBob, I think a big sign of, like, when it started going downhill, even if I can't prove this, which I want to be able to, is when they started, like, producing the vinyl figures of, like, the memes.
Literally what happens in the Sandy movie.
You know what I'm talking about? They have these, like, Funko Pop meme figures.
That's Sea Pals. It's literally Sea Pals.
Yeah. And they have this weird, like, 2D animated style that they're showing for, I think, the Sea Pals commercial, or, like, one of the videos for, like, the marine biology company. And it's like, why are they teasing us with 2D animation, like, in a 3D animated movie? And why do companies feel like they still have to do 3D? Are kids just more used to 3D and they, like, won't be interested if they see 2D or something? Like, kids are still probably being shown, like, Disney movies, right? And movies that their parents grew up with, I'd hope.
That's the plot. Soon there will be... No, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say, soon there'll be so many 3D animated movies, there won't be any need to show people the Disney classics.
Because I guess, like, we grew up in the era of 3D already being a thing, even if it was, like, still getting its legs.
The transitionary period.
Yeah, like Shark Tale. But I don't know. Like, we grew up with, like, Shrek and shit like that. But I think it was, like, when Shrek was a thing, it was, like, a monumental task to make a 3D movie, and now it's just easier. Now it's just, like, the thing you do if you want to spend less money.
Yeah, I was trying to think of my first memory seeing a 2D film, and I was thinking about the other day. I wonder what it was, because it's an interesting question. Because I remember all the 3D ones as a kid, but, like, even that feeling of watching something, oh, this is different, and kind of registering. Maybe it was a SpongeBob movie. There has to be something before.
You mean, like, in theaters?
Not in theaters is a good question, because that it was already phased out by the time I was going to theaters. I didn't see Princess and the Frog or any of that, which or the Winnie the Pooh movie. Those would have been the two options when I was young.
You know, like Atlantis or like the other film kind of like that came out around that time.
Yeah, yeah.
I saw one of those in theaters. I mean, obviously, I mentioned I saw SpongeBob movie 1 in theaters when I was really fucking young, and I don't know. We definitely we were a family that watched like Disney movies, like the cartoon ones. I remember specifically being told a story. I think it was like of my brother Andrew's like 3rd birthday or something. He was like really into Cinderella 2. So they got
Just
him like
watch
a Cinderella
Cinderella.
2 cake.
Cinderella 2 was wild. Not even Cinderella 3, Cinderella 2.
We gotta add that to the list of rewatched. We gotta watch Dougal, Cinderella 2.
I just watched
What else are we?
first Cinderella, so I'd watch the second and people say the third one is the best of the directed DVD sequels. So
I feel like
What-
the people that I've told that I've been watching the SpongeBob movies to right now and asking, there's a fucking 3rd Cinderella, because it's like people saying there's a 4th SpongeBob movie. I didn't know there was a 3rd one. You know.
that's the time travel
Now the
one.
tables have turned.
Spoilers.
The time travel one.
A Twist in Time, I think it's called.
Okay, maybe I do remember that.
I actually just remembered what the first 2D film I saw was. I was really young. It was The Lion King 1.5, I'm pretty sure.
Yo, I fuck with The Lion King 1.5. I had that on DVD. That had like the crazy DVD games and features and shit. And that had like the fart jokes. That's what I remember about it.
That's it was my neighbor's
So I
house,
liked
but-
it a lot.
I mean, when I was like 2, I couldn't comprehend anything. But there, I do remember that feeling of like, oh, what is like this is like, is this Disney? Is this Disney magic or some shit? I don't know. Like, I don't want to describe it all to Disney because that sensation of seeing something that's 2D, like, maybe I'm retroactively placing these memories to fit my dogma, but I do remember the sensation. I don't know if I was that young, but I was pretty young.
I remember being at daycare with these kids. I don't know how old I was, maybe like 6 or something. And they were like, yo, let's watch The Brave Little Toaster. And I was like, what's that? And they're like, oh, you're going to love this. And they put on like the VHS of it or something. And I was like, this is the most magical experience I've ever seen in my life.
I would listen to the song about the cars killing themselves in middle school a lot.
Do you think The Brave Little Toaster is like a proto object show?
I guess somebody has to trailblaze the genre, right?
Shout outs to that user in SCAP chat that posted like a So Great and Powerful object show AMV. I don't know if you saw that.
I did see that. That's like one of those worlds. I know Battle for Three Islands called, right? Is that an object show?
BFDI. That's the object show.
Yeah. So the fact that there's more, like, it's like such a world that I'm not even familiar with.
It's its own cultural movement. Maybe that's being added to the list, and we have to watch all of BFDI. Figure it out.
No, there's so many worlds to explore.
Speaking of, let's talk about the Plankton movie.
Yeah, I think we Sandy movie bad. We established
Sandy
it.
movie bad. Plankton movie okay. Maybe I feel this way because I watched it in a call with you and other SCAP server members, and it also made me wonder, like, because we watched this with a group of people, if watching the Sandy movie with a group of people would have made it better or more memorable. Because I feel like there's so many batshit things that happen in that like would be fun to watch with other people. You know what I mean?
I mean, one of the highlights of any of these movies is whenever something really disgusting happens.
Yeah.
Hearing you react, that is so funny.
It's fucked up, dude. Like the gross out gags are fucked up. They're like really off-putting.
But
Genuinely.
it works when I hear somebody else react to it.
Do you think that's what everyone in the theater is supposed to be like? Ew.
Yeah, I mean,
But these are Netflix movies.
that's true. I mean, I always think that I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but when I think we were talking about, oh, do kids actually like fart jokes, or did we like fart jokes as kids? And when I saw
Yes.
Teen Titans Go to the Movies in theaters at camp with the children I was looking after, hearing them react to the fart jokes was insane.
Did they like them?
I mean, I remember I was supposed to look up to this one kid in particular, Chuck. Chuck was like losing his mind. And I mean, in a way, it was a good memory because it was, funny to like, or I mean, it was touching to see Chuck, fucking laugh that hard at a movie. And honestly, even beyond the fart jokes, it is pretty funny at times. I'll admit. But
Teen Titans Go passed me, but I guess Teen Titans Zero also passed. Teen Titans Joe also passed gas. You know what I'm saying?
What are you talking about right now?
What I'm talking about is the Plankton movie leaked on Twitter
I forgot, yeah.
in 480p months before it came out on Netflix, and a bunch of people were freaking out about it. I did not watch the Twitter leak. Okay, I watched this legally by ripping it online from Netflix. I didn't know what people thought about it. I think at the time I remember people saying it was like kind of bad, but I'm gonna be the first to say it. I think the Plankton movie is not that bad.
It's not that bad.
Maybe it's because we just watched the Sandy Cheeks movie, but it's I guess anything you watch after watching the Sandy Cheeks movie will just automatically be better. This is like a movie life hack. If your friend is like, "Oh, can you come with and see, Marty Supreme?" and you're like, "Oh, I don't know if I really." Just watch the Sandy Cheeks movie beforehand, and then like you'll probably fucking love the animation in real life.
I wrote down a note for the Sandy Cheeks movie that just says, "There's so much to lose." So in a way, that plays into that feeling.
Yeah.
You thought the other SpongeBob movies were mediocre. You don't know shit. That's what I was thinking about when I mentioned that one Letterboxd review last week or 2 weeks ago where that person called the Plankton movie unforgivable.
Yeah, like, come on.
I think the Sandy Cheeks movie would have eviscerated them from the planet, if that's the case.
The Plankton movie is really not that bad, and I guess we should talk about it. Like, one of the things I noticed, and I think you mentioned this was like something that they do in the show later, is that like all the female characters, they're like friends with Karen.
Yes.
They like do the equivalent of like hang out and drink wine, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I saw that shit and I was like, they've been doing this in the show? Like, have I been missing like gal time in the show where they fucking hang out with Karen and shoot the shit? Like, that's awesome.
Last podcast, I talked about, SpongeBob needs to refresh itself. It needs to have a mini series where they suddenly do continuity only briefly. But I was watching the Plankton movie, and I realized that there is sort of new continuity that they've kept in the Plankton movie. One of them is Spot, Plankton's pet, who is sort of this Neo character in a way. And then the other is the gal pals, the fact that these characters all hang out with each other now. And that's what I was talking about, where they, in some ways, I have to respect that they try to refresh these dynamics by making new characters hang out with each other who wouldn't normally hang out with each other. And I think that's cute, and I think it works.
I thought it works really well in this movie. And the gals kind of like were their own character in this movie. When Karen starts like fucking freaking out and she has like DID in this or something and splits into like 3 Karens.
Yeah, should we give an overview of the plot for this one?
Oh, could you please?
Well, I'll try my best. Basically, Plankton and Karen start going through a rough patch in their relationship and are on the brink of divorce. And Karen removes her empathy chip and starts trying to take over the Bikini Bottom. That's basically it, right?
Yeah, I mean,
there's more to it than that, but
yeah, she's freaking the fuck out. She's got 3 versions of herself, and this one also has like songs in it, but I did not feel so annoyed by them. In the Sandy Cheeks movie, I think they were like the songs were a bit much. They were a bit nothing. And not that some of the songs in this are not that, but there was this really good Karen song that like I remember watching it. I was just like, this is fucking good. They're doing like the auto-tune and shit, and like it just genuinely sounded good. And then they have like the Plankton song, and he's like, "I'm Plankton." It's like, this is fucking awesome.
See, one thing I think about this newer shit is I just don't. SpongeBob has always had sort of been this musical identity, right? And it's unfortunate because I think a lot of the newer songs are just not good. And
Yeah.
both in the show and the movies. But the thing with this one, this Karen song, is that's the closest we'll get to a hyper pop SpongeBob song. Is it cliche to say that?
I think you're correct. Like, I agree with you on that.
It's just weird to see in SpongeBob. Like, it's not quite there, but it's, it's. I guess it's,
I thought it was good.
Yeah, it was interesting. It's refreshing in a way to actually have that.
I guess this film is like basically a musical.
Yeah,
with the
it's
amount
more
of songs
of a
that's in
musical than
it.
the other one.
Yeah.
Which I think is funny. One joke that they always do is I've seen they do this in the movies a lot. There's a joke where non-diegetic music will suddenly be diegetic. I kind of always find that funny. I think that always works.
I mean, have you seen Blackberry?
No, I haven't.
Every single time there's a song that plays in Blackberry, it does that.
That's just I guess it's just a trope, but I think that's always interesting.
I like it. I think it's fun.
This movie also has mixed styles in it, more so than the other one. I guess is it more so than the other one? Because there's the psychedelic section, right?
Oh my god.
I think was there other parts where the flashbacks, right? Yeah, there's the old timey flashbacks too.
Right. Where it's like going through his backstory.
Yeah, that's another positive. I mean, we talk about this stuff like, oh, it's 3D SpongeBob, but they are clearly, experimenting, if you would, with other shit too.
Yeah, and they had it in this like Steamboat Willie style Plankton and everything. I mean, Plankton has please correct me on any plot details. Plankton has a roommate that he used to go to college with, and he froze his roommate in a block of ice.
I knew we'd have to talk about this.
Yeah, and like froze his roommate in a block of ice, shoved him in a closet with all of his like college dorm shit, which apparently is still there years and years later. His frozen roommate is like in this block of ice looking around. Like his eyes are moving. So he's just been stuck in this block of ice for like decades and hasn't been able to do anything except fucking look around.
It's horrible.
It's terrifying.
I mean,
like,
it's a little funnier than the Sandy stuff, right?
Yeah, but it's just like, what the fuck?
Do you think they crossed the line there?
I think what crossed the line was the poster on Plankton's college dorm wall, which was a fish that had her titties out. Because they always have to have the fish with the titties out in the modern SpongeBob movies for some reason.
Plankton was this college horn dog. Like, that's the lore that we were missing from the SpongeBob universe.
I have written down here they do like a few moments later, like visual gags in this one. Which I don't think they did in any of the other movies, did they?
That's true. That was missing.
Yeah, and I was like, that didn't feel so shoehorned. That was more just like, oh, this is something that old SpongeBob used to do. I don't know if they still do it in their in the newer episodes. But they also like brought back Goofy Goobers, and I was just like, holy fucking shit.
Well, you know what the deal is
Goofy
with that, right?
What is it?
That's also neo continuity in a way, because the movie stuff was under copyright for a while. I don't know, 10 years, like 20 years. I have no idea.
Like with Paramount or something.
Yeah, but the copyright expired, so now it's that stuff is in the show now. It's like a
holy shit.
Yeah, like Goofy Goober is like a location that they can use.
I did not know that. That's wild.
And say it's nostalgia bait or whatever, but I think it's interesting to me that they would literally, rather than just being specifically nostalgia bait, like it was literally prevented from happening.
Yeah. How do you know this trivia?
That's a good question.
Have you been reading the wiki again?
Sometimes. Sometimes I'm bored and maybe it's a YouTube video that I just end up watching or something. I need to fact check my sources, actually, if I'm going to be an official podcast. Well, that's other new stuff. Yeah.
Well, I just have some notes here. Like, Plankton gives Patrick tummy time. Can you decipher this for me?
I don't remember that.
Maybe I was hallucinating.
Is that what you're talking about? Where I mean, Patrick is, for lack of a better phrase, fat as fuck.
I think that's different, maybe, but
there's two moments
like
where there's Patrick tummy time.
Yeah, there might be a different one. I don't know, but like, yeah, Patrick does get ridiculously fat, like the size of an auditorium fat, by eating. What does he eat? Like burgers? Is it Krabby Patties?
Yeah, they're producing them inside the giant Karen machine or whatever.
And you just see this like giant fucking fat blob Patrick. It like pans down from his head, and he's like the size of a fucking cathedral.
It's funny. It's to guide people through these movies. We skip over all like the general details and just focus on like the worst moments, so people have like a concentrated 5 seconds of feeling that encapsulates the entire experience.
Well, how else am I supposed to talk about this shit? I watched it. I remembered it being like decently good and not too bad, and there was Plankton in it.
Yeah, I mean, how angry am I supposed to get at this point? I was like, oh, it was entertaining. I'm not gonna be that hard. Like, I enjoyed watching it. Like, I have to be honest about that.
I had a good time. I didn't get the SpongeBob movie fatigue with this one, as I had described last episode, where you get like 20 or 30 minutes in and you just like you just I'm wondering like how are they gonna keep this up, and like I need to tap out. The Plankton movie was genuinely good the entire time. You know, they go to some cool like set pieces. They go to like the grocery store after hours and no one's there.
I like the giant like infernal machine of Karen, and they have to break in, and that was very video gamey. It reminded me of scaling shit in video games.
I feel like every 3D movie nowadays just does look like a video game cutscene, and just like 3D shit in general. Like,
yeah, I mean,
the Amazing Digital Circus just looks like a fucking video game.
We said that last time, but there's levels to it where we approach the singularity of game even closer, because these are even more in that direction. I find,
yeah,
even more than the theater movies.
I mean, speaking of video games, like I have this like very specific brain rot where like no matter what I'm watching, I will like envision the characters like if they could be a fighting game character, and like what their moveset would be. So like the 3 Karens, I was like, holy shit, you know, she would be the craziest fucking grappler, and like maybe she'd be a zoner, and maybe she could have like 3 different like types that you could switch between for like three, like a stance character with 3 stances. I don't know. Do you ever get that, or is that just me?
Well, I kind of was imagining it as a platformer with the section I was talking about, because it reminded me maybe of Jack and Daxter, or even Mario Galaxy, like platformers where the platforming is on some big machine.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That is a specific video game trope.
Like Cat in the Hat PS2.
It comes back. That's the guiding text.
Well, I don't really have too much to say about the Plankton movie.
I don't either. It's just, I mean, I appreciate going off comparing the Sandy movie. Plankton and SpongeBob had a bit more of an actual dynamic. I thought the references were better, right? The references to the show were more tasteful, if you would.
Yeah. Different director.
Yeah, I mean, even the generic breakup, like, I mean, that's another thing where I guess we ask ourselves, how many plot lines can you do with SpongeBob? Because this does resemble multiple episodes that have been made already. And part of me is like, oh, like, it's just, the same thing again, but now a movie. And if it's fine because they bring it to a bigger scale. And I don't know if that's good or bad. It just is what it is when you have something that's been around for a while. But I wanted to point it out. But I also wanted to point out, because I think the removal of the empathy chip, if I'm trying to take these things like, oh, is there something to them? Like, to me, that's kind of a funny way of doing a relationship story with these characters. And there is, maybe to me, some, like, it gives Karen and Plankton's relationship some nuance, which I guess, to me, it would be the point of making a movie about this, to give them this extended drama, which adds to them, in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like it played with a lot more with what already existed in a way that didn't feel so forced. Like, having the three Karens was like one of the only things in this that felt like a new character, I guess. But like, even then it made sense and it was kind of interesting. And like, you know, you didn't have any like shoehorned new characters that much. Like you have like the gals that already exist, and you have like, you know, SpongeBob and shit. But you the Sandy Cheeks movie added an entire family and like all of this shit that's just so not SpongeBob and just felt alien. But the Plankton movie did feel like SpongeBob. I honestly wonder like if it was better than the newer SpongeBob like theatrical movies.
No, I kind of liked it more too.
I think I definitely liked it more than Sponge on the Run. I don't know if I liked it more than the fourth movie, because I actually did like the fourth movie quite a bit. But maybe if they had a Burger King tie-in meal for the Plankton movie, maybe that would be what pushes me over the edge.
That would have been crazy. What would you even do for that?
They'd have like Karen's electrifying like energy drink, and it would be like an Arnold Palmer
insane.
where it's like split, you know, but like with the 3 split personalities.
Fucking zoinked off the Karen Burger King energy drink. There would be Burger Kings being destroyed around the nation. You know, it's this is a little off topic, but we're talking about watching newer episodes. This does remind me there's one I do want to watch, which I remember hearing about, which maybe the novelty is lost because all the SpongeBob episodes are in 3D now. Or, I mean, all the movies are in 3D. But there's one called Plankton's Virus, where the gimmick of that is that episode is just, like 3D CGI. Okay, I know my only sources is, like, the cartoon YouTubers I used to watch that I still, like, every now and again check in. But I remember, I think it was, like, Mr. Ender who was like, this one's good, actually. And I mean, like you said, I want to see it for myself. I'm curious.
Animated atrocities.
Yeah, that one got an admirable animation, I'm pretty sure.
I've never watched this dude. I didn't mention it on the last podcast. But,
sorry, it's like it's my one source.
Yeah, like this guy, like my first exposure to him was like I got really into 12-ounce mouse when I was like fucking 16 or something, and I was like looking up shit about it, and he has an animated atrocities episode on 12-ounce mouse, and he's like, this animation is really bad because they drew something on the back of a piece of paper. And it's like, how the fuck is this your takeaway from watching 12-ounce mouse? Usually when people say they don't like it, it's like, oh, I don't like the humor. It's like, yeah, like it looks like shit. That's like, it's supposed to look like shit. It's, I don't know.
To be fair, I think he regretted that later, I'm pretty sure. He's like,
probably because of like all the hate comments.
Yeah. I mean, it is objectively funny to get angry at 12-ounce mouse. It's almost like immune to anything.
Yeah.
No, but I guess for other people, this is a cartoon reviewer I was obsessed with in 6th grade, and the echoes of which are felt to this day. And because I would treat him like gospel. And I guess it's just what happens when you're a kid. You latch on to these reviewers.
Well, for me, it was like The Amazing Atheist and Sargon of Akkad, so I think you made it out of it on the good end.
But no, I literally had memories where I would start talking to people about like Mr. Eder, and they would be like, get me away from this dude. Well, I do, I always say that I do cherish him because the admirable animation stuff That was the only shit I wasn't watching. I mean, I was watching some movies, but I wasn't into movies like that yet. So this is my world, and just to have somebody to tell you, oh, there are cartoons that are actually extra special. I think that is a useful thing to learn in a way, because I was more interested in what he liked, right? And that idea of like singling out the special stuff, like looking for those magical ones, like I think that it was a guiding sort of inspirational thing to learn that I do appreciate. This is what I saluted them at the end of the last podcast, but this is my explanation for this stuff now.
I'm sure he really appreciates it.
I hope you're listening. I someday I'll write something and be like, I owe it all to you. But maybe this will get carried away. Maybe it's unnecessary. But I was wondering if you had to pitch a SpongeBob spin-off movie, what would it be?
Oh my god. If I had to pitch a SpongeBob spin-off movie, it would definitely be like Gary's story, right? And it's like those Pokemon animations where like it's just the Pokemon like fucking around, like Pichu brothers, and they have the narrators like, "Oh, Pichu is trying to get an invitation for the party." It's like Gary and like they don't do the thing like in the third movie where there's like all these snails that are being used for like anti-aging products, but he just goes on an adventure, a bit of a silent film, music carried.
Wait, that would be awesome.
Thing, maybe even stop motion.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Feel like they could do a lot with that.
Because I was thinking about this. I was thinking about the Squidward movie, which I think is inevitable. It's impossible not to just start ripping off episodes because there's just so many of them. This plot line, like, oh, how do you innovate with the Squidward movie?
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it would be funny if there was some sort of Bikini Bottom classical recital thing going on. That's his big debut, right? And obviously, I think he would have to be up against Squilliam, so it's similar to Band Geeks, and there's a few Squilliam plot lines like that. But I thought it'd be interesting if they added like this new character who is like Fish John Cage or some shit that they have to impress. But what ends up happening is that like, even though it's supposed to be a classical recital, SpongeBob and Patrick show up as performers doing like their own shit. And the reason I started thinking about this is because you know how people say Brave Little Abacus kind of sounds like SpongeBob sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, I saw another one where I think it's like a Rate Your Music review for this Animal Collective live album, for the album Sung Tongues, where it's in Spanish, but it's saying that they sound like Ivy Terror and Panda Bear sound like SpongeBob and Patrick. And I mean, it's one of those things. It's kind of like the Brave Little Abacus thing, where they sort of sound, like, not really, but they do kind of sound like it. Maybe we could like insert that in for comparison.
Oh no, there are definitely parts of Brave Little Abacus songs, like in Can't Run Away, there are like a very few distinct Sponge-esque vocal licks, for sure. I've felt that before.
Yeah, we need to insert covered in frogs to let the audience decide for themselves, because they're like wailing, they're like covered in frogs. And I started imagining like SpongeBob and Patrick coming and doing this fucking freak folk performance, and like the Fish John Cage is like really like impressed by it. And Squidward has to learn to let go of his... Because you ask yourself, what's the arc, right? And the classic thing about Squidward is that like all his art is like kind of egotistical or whatever.
Yeah.
And he has to let go of ego and start creating for the glory of the world around him or whatever. So he teams up with SpongeBob and Patrick. That to me that would be the
You
movie.
really thought this out.
I was thinking about this genuinely.
You're on the way to Burger King listening to fucking Vaporwave with a Japanese title made by a American person. You're like, huh, if only Squilliam had his chance again.
It's literally just the Warrior Cats like AMV on the bus all over again as an adult.
You have a brilliant mind, Tim.
Oh, thank you. You're touching.
With all of that being said, we also watched 2 other films.
Neither of which are
Didn't we?
animated.
Neither of which are animated. But we did watch them in different contexts. But
Yes.
we came together in the end. So tell me how you watched these films. Tell me how you heard about these films.
Yes, I think it would be useful to break this one up into sections a little bit because, I mean, I have no idea who's listening to this shit, but it might be good to give people a general idea of Castration Movie and how we've watched it and try to avoid spoilers and then get into that if people are on the fence about watching this 10-hour film.
Well, I guess I'll mention it first that in the So Great and Powerful fan Discord server, Captive Unicorns, the place which I reside and have for many a year, I had seen these films, mostly the first one, mentioned in passing, and briefly looked them up, and it's like, oh, movie about trans women made by trans women. And that's just what they were in my head. And so like that's probably the best descriptor I could give of them. And the other important descriptor is that, as you mentioned, they are long. The first one is 4.5 hours and the second one is 5 hours.
Insane.
It's actually fucking insane, yeah.
Even more insane considering how I learned about it. Because I remember it. I remember it was probably coming up to a year. It was the night we watched Solaris for movie night. And I went out afterwards over to Hollywood. And I was riding the spiritual high that Solaris gave me into this night. And it was a fun night, you know, exploring bars and shit, finding which DJ sets were good. But I remember I go on this website, Revival Houses, there's both for New York and Los Angeles, but it tells you what, you know, special event screenings are playing in nearby theaters. And I found it very useful. But I saw there was this movie called Castration Movie playing. And genuinely I was like, what the hell is that? That sounds awesome. And I looked it up. And I saw that it was 4.5 hours long. And I saw it was playing at 11 p.m. And I was like, first off, there's no way I'm convincing these people to go see this movie. It's like, oh, you know, you're out drinking. You're like, oh, guys, we have like Castration Movie's playing. And so I missed it.
Come stay up till 5 a.m. with me.
Yeah, exactly. I missed it. And it just kind of drifted off into the back of my mind for a bit. I mean, I added the director's first film, Computer Hearts, to my watch list to watch it later. Because it seemed
Louis Weird.
Yeah,
Louis Weird being the director.
Yeah.
Not spelled like you spell weird, but spelled like how you spell weird in that not Sandwich Hobo video called Weird Video Game Glitch, where the guy plays Toontown and starts levitating. It's spelled like that for context.
Chris was weird, where the I is before the E. I mean, so it was only when the second one was coming out, it kind of came back, right? I remember I was hanging out in the city recently, and I met up with a friend from like elementary and middle school for his birthday, and we we went to go see Catch Me If You Can at the theater, and then we went out for drinks afterwards. Then, and these are all like film people, and this one guy, he was writing actual reviews for shit. He was pretty tapped in, like more. More, like close to 3,000 films on Letterboxd, right?
Yeah.
It was just one of those moments where we were doing the Letterboxd exchange, and I saw that he had his favorite movie listed was Speed Racer. And
fuck yeah.
I looked at him and was like, "Oh, Speed Racer, like, hell yeah, dude." And he looked at me and was like, "Oh, we're gonna be friends." And I was like, "Is this what it's all about?"
Yes. The answer is yes.
But I mean, I was hearing about what movies he's been enjoying, and he's like, "Castration Movie, dude. Like, you've got to see it."
Wait, really? What the fuck?
Yeah, and suddenly
that's awesome.
This old thing from last year had suddenly come back, and I arrived to LA, and I checked the Revival House's website, and I see that both are playing at this place, Brain Dead Studios, and one just to play it again before the premiere of the second one. It was the first LA premiere of the second film.
Yeah, because there are two films. There's can I just like wear my intelligence on my sleeve and ask you on the podcast without having Googled it before, what the fuck is an anthology movie? What is that? Like, what does that mean?
Well, basically it's kind of a chaptered film where each section is about different people, right? It's has different sections that are not, they're only congenitally like related.
So are both of these anthology movies in an anthology, or is each of them an anthology film itself?
Well, that's be an interesting thing to talk about, the overall like sum of it.
Okay.
But all of it is an ordered anthology, right? Because like part 2, this is where it gets confusing, because part 1 has chapters 1 and 2.
Yes.
But then part 2 has chapter 3.
Yes.
So in order to refer to these movies, you need to talk about the part overall, but then the specific chapters within each part.
So that is important to say, yeah. So if we're talking about part 1, we mean the first film. But if we're talking about chapter 1 or 2, that means the first film, but chapter 3 means the second film.
Yeah, part 2 is just the entirety of chapter 3. It's a 5-hour chapter.
But both films have intermissions in the middle that contribute to their runtime. So it's not actually 4.5 hours. It's actually like 4 hours and 15 minutes. So it's not that long. Considered.
The second one is the longest movie I've seen in my life.
I am in the same boat, yeah.
Yes. Which is it? The first one is only the third, because the longest I had seen was as I was moving ahead. I occasionally saw brief glimpses of Beauty, which is like 4 hours and 48 minutes or whatever. So the second Castration Movie just beats it out by like 20 minutes.
But does that film that you just named have an intermission?
Well, it's chaptered, so you can just pause between it. Like, not really, but you can just... Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Does it cut the time down?
I'd be interested to see, like, if they, go band for band like that.
But what's crazy about it being the longest movie I've ever seen is that I watched it twice.
Yeah, you fucking maniac.
Not to, like, suck my dick or anything, but my point, with that, I think that's a good selling point. It's like, not only is the movie long, like, I actually came back to it. I think that I'm not trying to be like pompous about it. I just think that actually shows me something.
Yeah, I guess now is like a good time to briefly mention. I was talking to my friend Kai, and I was like, yeah. He's like, what are you doing today, or like tomorrow or whatever? And I was like, well, I'm watching this like 4.5 hour movie and then another 5-hour movie. And he was just like, oh, send me the link. Like, he didn't even ask any questions. And then he watched the first one mostly on like 1.5 or 2 times speed, and he hated the first one for the most part. But then he watched the second one with us which I guess is spoiling how we watch these films. But he watched the second one with us, and then not too long afterwards watched it again in its entirety to like another group of friends that he has. So he did like the same thing. He watched it like again because he fucking loves the Castration Movie Part 2. Like he keeps singing his praises about it.
Yeah, I mean, just off the bat, regardless of like the rest of what we start getting into, like that is an impressive feat.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did it because the ways we watched it was interesting to me because I started thinking about just both the settings and how they're different and maybe the pros and cons of both. Because seeing it in a theater, you are just locked in there with a group of people, right? And you get time distortion, which I always think is a great thing about movies, especially long movies. You just lose track of how long everything is, and you're just like in the trenches of the film. No, you don't know which way is up.
Yeah.
And it's also interesting to see what people react to or laugh at, because we'll get into it, but there's a lot of scenes where watching it with other people, it's pretty wild.
Yes. And I would like you to describe your theater experiences a bit more if you could, because I know like I think you said like the director was there for at least one of those screenings, and also like I just want to know how big the theater is, how packed was it, roughly how many people were there, because just imagining seeing this with other people is something that I feel like I need to do. There is an art house theater in Chicago called the Music Box Theater. Chicago's like, a bit of a drive for me, but not too bad, right? It's like a 3-hour drive from where I'm at. And they have Castration Movie listed on their website. And they have played Castration Movie 1 around when that released last year at that theater. But they haven't played 2 yet. So like I'm hoping if they play 2, they do the same thing that they did for you. And they played 1 the night before it. And if they do that, I'm totally fucking running the gauntlet just like you did, so I could see it at a theater. Because holy shit, some of the shit that's in this movie, it's like it ranges from uncomfortable to like deeply true to just batshit insane to hilarious to like, I don't know, it just covers the entire spectrum of emotion. Some things that I didn't know I was able to feel. Just crazy.
Well, there's a third one coming too, so they're probably gonna bring it back for that.
The third one with fucking Jane Schronberg, director of like TV Glow and World's Fair, and Ada Rook from Black Dresses. Just like
it's fucking crazy.
Getting the whole all-star cast of trans women for that one, I suppose. Like, there's a trailer for the third one at the end of the second one, and I have no clue what to think about the trailer because, like, how do you have a trailer for the type of movie that this is? People have called these movies mumblecore, which is something I'd never heard before watching these.
Yeah, I guess I can. Well, I guess we should talk about it now. I mean, the differences between the first one and the second one. To me, the first one, I mean, they both are, I suppose, but the first one feels more like the films. It feels more traditionally mumblecore, I suppose. Like, maybe because it leans more like, I guess it's to me, part 2 is more like it's kind of like a Gen Z movie, right?
Yeah,
and not to reduce it to these terms. But mumblecore, more millennial, more 2000s, like more of a throwback to these like scene films that used to like. I mean, they still exist, I suppose. But I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of the classic mumblecore films, so maybe I was just speaking out of my ass. But it has more of that, I guess, laid back atmosphere. I don't know if that's the right word. It's more of like a hangout film, in a way.
Yeah, I think so. And like it's more like weirdly comfy, I guess. Like there's a lot of uncomfortable things happening, but there's more
saying.
scenes of like normal-ish friends hanging out. But
because when I think mumblecore, I think it's kind of ordinary, like it's kind of rambly, right? It's in these sort of basic settings, if you would, like these homes, right? It doesn't shot on video, like kind of extremely low budgets. And that, I mean, not that the second one isn't like that, but the second one is a bit more surreal and strange. It's not to me, it's not as grounded in reality as the first one is.
I agree. The first one though, like it is shot on these shitty cameras, and they're using they're barely using mics for this thing. I wonder if they are using the camera mic. There's a scene in the first one where like one of the characters is on a headset because he works on sets of films, and they use the headset mic as the microphone that they're recording that scene on,
awesome.
And it starts clipping, and I'm like, this is raw as fuck. Like, I really like that shit. I think one of the main differences between watching this in the theater versus watching this on its home release is that the home release has subtitles. It has like officially made and released subtitles for both of them.
This is exactly where I was getting at with the differences, because that is extremely big difference that I found.
Can you talk very briefly though about, or can you talk briefly about like what your theater experience was like though?
Yeah, first day, I rode, it's like a 2-hour bus ride, right?
Holy
so
shit.
I geared up, got on that fucking bus. I'd never been to Brain Dead before, so it was, it's always a little intimidating to go to a new place with the bus, make sure you get there on time and shit. Theater, I'd say it was pretty full. It was 75% full.
How big's the theater?
It's that's a good question. I put it into terms. I mean, it's like, it's just this, I'd say it's like medium size. It's not as small, like, how, for comparison, I was talking about the opera at the beginning of this that I saw, the TV opera.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that at like a VHS store, right? That kind of had folded chairs and was really tiny, which is cool for that. But this is like the next step up from that, only one relatively big room, right? But then there's like a third level. I went to the Academy Museum the other day where it's this huge, like, giant sphere of like, red seats. And so not there, but I would say you're pretty standard independent theater.
Okay. So like a few hundred people?
Not even. I mean, that's a good question.
Like a couple hundred?
Like giving a count. No, I mean, like, I'd probably say like probably even less, like 50 to 70, I don't know.
So it was a nice intimate showing. Was it mostly trans women in the audience?
Well, the one interaction I had the first night was when I went to the men's restroom, and a guy turned to me, he was just like, "Oh, good night to be using the men's restroom, huh?"
Didn't he say something else to you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was talking about what we thought of the movie so far and those first parts, and I didn't even know what to think myself. But he was like, yeah, that first chapter got a little too real sometimes. I mean, I guess it's hard for context if you haven't seen it, but that's an extremely funny thing to say after watching the first chapter of this film.
You should have been like, "Are you okay, dude?"
Oh yeah, I failed. I mean, I didn't know if I was ready to perform the emotional checks that were needed while we're using the urinal.
So it sounds like it was a good showing. And you got Q&As though?
Yes, there was a Q&A both nights, but I left the first night because I guess maybe that's a bad thing to do, but I was worried about missing the bus and getting stranded. So when it ended, I was like, I gotta get out of here.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because I mean, this was an all-day endeavor, right? 2-hour bus ride there, 2-hour bus ride back, plus the 4.5-hour movie, right? And to be honest, when I woke up the next day, then this is the debate I was having. I was talking to you about it. I was like, do I go back? Because I was already exhausted. And to be honest, I didn't know what I thought about these movies. And they played a trailer for the second one, and I thought it looked miserable, to be honest.
I haven't seen the trailer for the second one because my version of the first one didn't have it at the end. So
I literally think it's just, well, I guess I shouldn't spoil yet.
yeah, maybe not yet.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I was like, oh, is this like a satire of like, the Bushwick youth or whatever, the New York City like scene? Because on paper, to me, that's an exhausting thing to watch. So I had my doubts, but I'm glad I went back. You said it best. It was the only night to see that.
Yeah.
And I literally, I went and I'd never done this before in a long time. I got an energy drink and I drank the energy drink and I went back for the showing. And I mean, these stories aren't really that vital, I guess.
What was the energy drink?
Oh my God, it was like a strawberry lemonade C4 or something.
You should have got like the SpongeBob soda.
I should have got it. Sorry, am I playing the stereotypes if I say monster, white monster?
What's the stereotype?
Am I allowed to say this on the podcast? Is it, 100 gex, like, energy drink enjoyer? You know what I'm talking about.
No comment.
Am I getting... I can say that. See, the problem is, I was drinking it and I was like, this is the best day of my life. Like, every album sounded amazing. I was like, I'm so excited to see Castration Movie.
You were
Part
fucking
2.
wired.
Yeah, but then right before the intermission, that feeling set in where I was like, oh my God. Like, it was 2.5 hours. It wasn't even about the movie. It was just like that feeling in my body when I crashed. I was like,
oh yeah,
I'm watching like 2.5 hours more of this. And that's bad because then you're not like actually locked into the film. So I had to order a fucking $15 pizza. And
yeah.
I mean, it was like life nourishing. But needless to say, with all that, I did stay for the Q&A, and I was glad I did. And this one was full, and I guess more important stuff about the difference in viewing. I mean, one, with the laughter, right, with the first one. It is really, and I've had a little bit more with experiences with this in the same place, but just hearing what people laugh at, right? This is fine, I think, because it's the opening scene. But the first movie opens up with the guy kind of going on, I don't want to say rant, but he's giving this passionate rant about Superman.
Yeah.
And it's a really interesting opening scene because I was here for it. I was like, this is kind of moving. Like, this guy, has the passion. Like, he cares about this thing. But, there's an experience in the audience where people start laughing. And it's like, oh, are they laughing because it's uncomfortable? Or do they think this guy is just like a dipshit?
Well, the guy is kind of a dipshit.
Well, yeah, but that's even before we get to that, right? This is just like, all I know with this guy is that he likes Superman.
I'm assuming people in the audience have seen it before.
Yeah,
so if you've not seen it before, that scene is like, what's going on, and you're trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, having people laugh would probably be a bit confusing.
So there's one person who's like owling. Like, this is like the funniest shit I've ever seen.
At the incel Superman scene, that's wild.
Yeah. No. I was like, I don't know. I feel kind of bad for this dude. Not like bad, but like I mean, I'm just thinking he deserves to be laughed at, right? I was like, is this what the film is going to be? I'm like laughing at this pathetic guy. And I didn't think that's the only moment that's like that but like for the rest of it, like sometimes you laugh when you're uncomfortable. So I never want to like, ascribe sort of read into people's laughter too much, honestly, because it's very sort of unexplainable emotion sometimes.
I mean, when I was at the Nirvana the band, the show, the movie screening with Melody and Ashes,
mm-hmm.
there was this guy sitting next to us that laughed louder than any other laugh I've heard in my life. And he was laughing at fucking everything, and it was like at times painfully loud. Like and it's not something where you can just be like, hey man, can you laugh a little quieter in this full theater of people? Like, it's just awkward, and it can I just wanted to be able to hear the movie a bit more, is all. Like, shout out to that guy for fucking being an unrestrained, beautiful version of himself, but it can be a lot at times, I guess.
Two sides of the coin. I mean, I've talked about this review, I've talked about this with a few people, but when I went to go see Happiness of the Cat Curries at the same theater, there was letterboxd controversy about one person's laughter in the theater.
That's crazy.
Because somebody, maybe it was the same person. They were losing their minds. Like, fucking cackling. And I can understand both sides. I get why it's annoying. I'm not insane. But I think it added, because it loosened me up. And suddenly I was just fucking giggling at all this random shit. And that was like a nice feeling. But people were going on Letterboxd and they were like, the miserable showing. These people deserve to be brought to the streets and killed. And I was like, oh, you could just say that about people in the theater you were with.
That's fucking wild.
I mean, if anything, yeah, I mean, you're locked, like with Castration Movie, you're locked into the theater with people. And, I mean, it's really cool, though, sometimes when people just, you just get lost in the scene and people just start giggling, right? Because, I mean, this ties into the time thing, and I guess the subtitle thing. I had more to say about this than I thought I did, but it's like losing track of things. It's the second one in particular, right? The way the information changes, the way you experience the scene without subtitles,
yeah,
is like, I'm glad I did both because it gives that extended knowledge, but it was kind of cool. I mean, there's this scene. There's two things in particular. I mean, one, it changes the humor. There's this one character who could be hard to discern what they're saying at times. And that is its own kind of humor where you can't understand, like, what he's saying. Because it suddenly just becomes random sound effects, kind of. And people are trying to react to these, like, random sound effects that kind of sound like language. And there's, like, this experiencement of puzzlement of, like, wait, did he just say that? Or was that like nonsense?
Even like a lot of the subtitles just say unintelligible in brackets.
Yes, yeah. And that gets into the second thing, which I think was changed. We checked, there is this party scene in the second one. It's half an hour long. It's a half-hour long party. And it's shot like an actual party. You can't, like, the music's blaring. You can barely hear what the characters are saying.
Yeah.
This scene, we talked about whether people, like, you know, it's divisive because, I mean, you're watching a half-hour scene where you can't understand everything. But it kind of blew my mind. I mean, it was kind of like ego death or something. You dissolve into this fucking party. And it's interesting I mean, the thing about watching these movies in theaters, right, I'll admit, I was pretty tired because it's an exhausting thing to do, to go to those buses, and I'm already, like, exhausted as is a lot of the time. And during the first one, I was, sort of towards the end, like, drifting off a little bit. When I rewatched it, I realized I didn't miss that much. But it does play with your sense of time and comprehension. So in this scene, it's like a mental workout. It has this effect on you. And, like, just the information you try to piece together is so fascinating to me. Like, what like the little nuggets again of information that you're getting from, because that's how it is at a party. So you're trying to have an intimate conversation with somebody, and it can be hard, but you want to, like, try to do it.
No, I've been to parties like that. Particularly, like, that scene really took me back to, like, these rhythm game parties I would go to in Chicago, where it would be a lot of people playing, like, rhythm games and dance games, mostly nerds, but they also would party like fucking animals. So there is, like, that scene of, like, all those girls standing around in, like, the kitchen and just drinking and, like, talking mad shit about everyone and each other. That took me right back. And, like, also just this is one of the things that Kai said about this scene, which I think I'll be mentioning conversations I've had with him about it often, just about these movies. he said like, have you ever been left behind at a party by someone that took you there? This is exactly what it feels like. And I'm like, yes, that is exactly what it feels like. And I don't know if I've seen a scene in media that accurately portrays that feeling so well. It's that scene I think is genius, even though a lot of people seem to not think so, because it's maybe annoying to not hear something that everyone says, but that's how it is at parties like that, right?
Just that sensation of it's a tough thing to sell people on, but losing yourself to a scene that just goes on forever.
Yeah, especially like it's
kind of magical.
Yeah. No, it is magical, and like the editing bullshit that they did with the start of it is crazy. Like it just cuts from like where everyone else is at and where the rest of the film is at, and it cuts to this party, and it's just a single camera, and then it starts, you know, going back and forth from this one camera to this other camera, you know, from like the one camera that's on the main character to like another camera that's on like this girl that she just met. And then it keeps flashing back and forth, faster and faster. And then it just fucking splits into these two shots that are happening at the same time. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, when that happened, it blew my mind. And then it's just like that for the rest of the scene.
It blew my mind the second time because I felt like I was going to have a heart attack the second time. The music, like, thumping, and the shot of Circle, the protagonist, like, it's like zooming at her rapidly. Like, it's really sensory.
Yeah. Seizure warning.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's interesting because, well, I don't want to talk out of my ass because I've never seen it, but maybe I should have watched it in preparation for this. But I think people are like, I mean, people talk about how these weird pulls from certain things, right? And there's a lot of, you know, discourse about those influences and, you know, being somebody who wants to use them. And she literally lists her influences on her own letterbox, so it's kind of like a cheat sheet. But I've seen people mention that this draws from the Chelsea Girls by Andy Warhol, which has like a split screen, you know, effect on it. And to me, that's interesting because it is kind of a loaded reference because in a way, you know, Andy Warhol and that New York scene, like back end of 60s, 70s, right? I mean, that sort of had its own, you know, trans scene then of people, right? So to call upon that in like a modern New York thing, right, when you're trying to make a film about, you know, modern trans New York scene, I see the parallel. I think that's an interesting parallel to pull.
Huh. Did she oh yeah, go on.
Oh no, what were you gonna ask?
Well, like, did she list Harmony Korine as her influences? Because that was like the big thing, especially with the first film, that I'm just like, this is so Harmony Korine. Like, this is so Gummo. This is so Julian Donkey Boy. And I know that saying that sentence just now probably like gave at least like 5 people the ick, but it's so true. Like, it's just so fucking obvious.
It's just funny that it happens because it's like, you know, the thing we've watched together, right? And the thing we share. Yeah. And, you know, I in my life, I've talked about him a lot because he's been so present in grad school in my mind. But, I mean, the first movie in particular, those are the fucking 90s Harmony Korine films. Yeah. And they are listed. Both Gummo and Julian Donkey Boy are listed as influences.
That's reaffirming.
I mean, yeah, because you can't watch a movie where somebody fights another person in a kitchen. Yeah. And be like, this is not a Harmony Korine film. Or I don't want to say that, but it's not pulling from it, right?
Yeah,
which
and
is
like,
interesting because
that's not the only similarity. Yeah, they have people fight in the kitchen, and they also look at the fucking camera a lot in these movies.
Well, I mean, it is like a lot of the vibe, right? Well, people have mentioned that it's literally like Dogma 95. Like it fits like a lot of the rules. Yeah, I don't know if it fits all of them, but I mean, Julian Donkey Boy is Dogma 95.
Yeah, it is. It is almost Dogma 95, I'd say, in like the rules they're following.
Yeah, and I mean, It's interesting. It pulls from Harmony Korine because like the he is a director who's tried to contemporary chase himself all the way back to 4chan anyway, right? Which is
Yeah.
something that's prevalent in these movies. And he's an older man now trying to make Baby Invasion literally is like this fucked up Twitch movie, right?
Which Baby Invasion, like, as much as I didn't like it when I watched it, I feel like has like grown on me in concept at the very least for what it's
I think
trying
about
to
it
do.
anytime I watch a stream with like the chat present. Like to put that in your film in the way that he does, like not to like circle jerk him, but
Those chat messages
it
are
sticks
like
in your mind.
entrancing. I
Yeah, I
wonder
know.
if they actually had like real people write all of those. Like for reference,
Yeah.
there is a Twitch chat like pretty much the entirety of this film that's commenting on what's happening in this film, and it looks like it was like just written. Like maybe they used AI for it or something, which wouldn't surprise me because like Harmony Korine uses AI and Baby Invasion to put the babies on people's faces, as well as in Aggro Drift to just make these trippy looking scenes with this like primitive sort of like Google Dream, whatever the fuck sort of AI look to it, which I'm not the biggest fan of. But
It's funny. It's like I started, I'm sucking his dick so hard. I'm like, wait, like I'm compromising all my values for him. Well, my point is like, I mean, those are movies that are trying to capture some like post-internet feeling. So it's interesting that these ones draw from the '90s ones, but
yeah,
also have fucking 4chan in them. It's like,
yeah, we're the
t-
I don't know if this would be considered a spoiler, but yeah, for the first movie, it like starts with 4chan and it ends with 4chan. Like not immediately, but the opening sequence of the first one has 4chan in it, and it ends one of the last scenes in it is 4chan. It has this this is definitely a spoiler at this point, but it has this full song that plays while 4chan is just being scrolled through, and then it starts like overlaying over itself, just like this doom scroll 4chan scene, where I think they're going through the LGBT board and the R9K board. Just it's quite literally 4chan cinema.
some of the posts in that scene are fucking insane.
Yeah,
I know this comes with
there's a lot of crazy shit that shows up on the screen for a second because they're literally just filming 4chan. So like, yeah,
a lot to be said about that. I think I mean we should go into spoilers, but there's one thing I do want to say before we do spoilers, and that
Yeah.
is, I guess if anybody's listening, is like, oh, should I watch these long movies? And it's the interesting question that I was sort of feeling, right? And I think, sometimes one of the biggest hurdles with watching any movie is just like trusting the director or having like faith in the director not to waste your time. And, that's something where it's like that feeling, I think, is something you can like that can be developed or destroyed. And nowadays, there is sort of I would say a feeling that you watch. I mean, we people always throw the words around like slop or whatever, but you watch something and that this doesn't not everything has like meaning, right? So people disregard it, and it's like there's no trust that like it would have meaning. I mean, I'm kind of talking over myself if that makes any sense, but
yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, and there's one thing. It kind of ties in with the references, but during the Q&A, talking about how Luis Weird literally majored in semiotics, right? The study of signs, and I guess how you like, weave meaning into like something like film, right? How you like sort of the latent meaning within film. And somebody can say something like that, and I mean, there is a part of you that crosses your arms, and you're like, okay, you can't just tell me you have a degree in semiotics and make me believe that you're like, not that I want to act like that, but I feel like that does kind of, like, I think that does happen to people when they're being told about a 5-hour film. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's why I'm glad I rewatched it, because as I said, I had mixed feelings, or I was like, I mean, what ended up happening, this is right in the morning. I was like, I don't even know what I thought of the first one. I'm going to go see the second one. It ended up taking over my entire week, right? I was just thinking about these movies all the time and just what was being said in them. And first off, that's already sort of a feat in itself. Like, I'm going to be honest. Like, I know people might say it's a bare minimum, but like, it got me thinking. Like, it got me thinking about things that aren't usually put into films, which I think is an achievement and why, people come to movies or want to see things that are innovative. But, I mean, rewatching it, I was like, oh, this is full of meaning. Like, every segment has been sort of plotted out. And there's a lot of shit that is kept track of where I'm like, I do believe that Louis Weird went into this film was like, not a single second could be cut, right? This has been posted around a bit, but one of the things that she said was that for the second one, they wanted to do a 2-hour cut for festivals, but it ended up feeling like a Daily Wire original. And I was rewatching that, and I believe that. I was like, if the film was not 5 hours, it wouldn't have as much time to explore these topics, and would totally come off the wrong way, I think. Like, or it not be as in-depth as it is. Because I think, what does it take for somebody to, like, change or realize something? I think having, like, a long period of time that is most realistic. It becomes very subtle. So that's basically my argument for, like, it all depends on whether you trust me or not. But when I watch this, I'm like, I trust the director. I believe this has meaning. And, I mean, with the influences thing, looking at the influences, there's also debate about some of the other films she pulls from. I've never seen Sallow, right? Do you know about this movie?
I have seen Solo, yes.
Okay, you've seen Solo. Sorry,
I thought a bit about Solo when watching the part 2, to be honest.
Yes. Sorry, I said that in the most condescending way. Where I'm like, I feel like it's kind of a classic at this point. I should have watched it for this video, to be honest. I've never seen it, so you're actually one up on me.
No,
But,
no, I'm not.
Oh.
In no way have I one-upped anyone by having seen Solo. I'm just going to put that out there.
Well, it's one of those things where people are like, I guess you see these posts where it's like, oh, she thinks she can just pull from, these sort of big directors, right? These, like, influential directors, and throw it into, like, this movie that what was revealed also during the Q&A is that the second movie was kind of made on the fly. It was made in 5 days, and one part of it was made entirely in one night. 3 hours of it was made in one night. And I've said this to you, but I mean, that's really intimidating because, like, I mean, it's inspirational, but when I rewatched it, I found that I was really shaken by how much effort there actually is in it for something that is mainly improvised, and how much control people have over not only their characters, but the meaning they're trying to deliver with each character. Like, it was really well thought out, and that's, like, they put all the pieces to do their the improvising, right?
I think you just gotta have, like, the right people for it and the right conversations with those people about what you're going for. And I think that can go, like, a really long way. And it does feel like they had at least a vague idea of what they were going for and what they wanted to say. I think some scenes in part 2 can feel a little aimless at times, but I think by the end of each one, it does find its way to, like, say something,
Yeah, I mean, well, my point with the, like, influences thing is that, like, I think you can just do that. I mean, I mean, you can cheat because you can look at her letterbox, but I look at it and I'm like, I have no doubt in my mind she loves film, and she loves a lot of great films, right? And she is somebody who is just looking at these films like, I'm going to do that. But it's not really, like, worship or trying to be derivative. I mean, it's very much its own unique entity. So it is sort of the synthesis of these things. It is like, you can point to these movies, and but that's what makes it human. Like, she likes these movies, and then she was able to put it in a new language. So that's my pitch for why I think it is, like, worth the time. and not like a like kind of like a shit post or something that was just like thrown together.
Let me talk about this topic. So I will say, and some people listening who haven't seen the film or just in general maybe have already thought this, but 4.5 hours, not that long, all things considered, because especially with how like prevalent like binge culture is, maybe it's not as popular nowadays as it was in like COVID times, but you know, binging TV shows and stuff like that, that's very common. Oftentimes people will be like, hey, let's watch this TV show together. You know, I've been watching Adventure Time with my brother over the span of years, and we've seen way more than 4.5 hours of fucking Adventure Time, you know? I think it's intimidating to people because it's a film. But, you know, these are not things that like you need to watch like all at once. I am very envious, Tin, of your theatrical screenings that you went to, and I would love that because I know that I really like these films. But I think it's fine to take it like a TV show. Take your time with the different segments because they're so fucking long, and they are long. Don't get me wrong. These scenes last fucking forever sometimes, so you can just honestly take it scene by scene if you need to, or a couple scenes by a couple scenes. But I think all things considered, like 9 hours or so total is not that long for like media to consume. That being said, I think this is one of my main points I want to make about these films, or at least questions that I'm bringing up, is that is it a cheat code to make something really fucking long in order to achieve meaning being derived from it? Because I think like at least to a certain point, yes, it is. I think if you make anything like long as fuck, you're going to get something out of it because it's long as fuck, you know? Like, and if you don't, then you'll make it happen. I think as humans, we see something that we put time into and we're like, we need to make something out of this. We need this has to say something, right? Not that I think these films are completely aimless, but they're not perfect. Sometimes that is to its benefit, but sometimes it's just like, okay, what the fuck are they doing here? Maybe technically,
Well,
but
I would say, I think that if like giving the pitch, right? One thing I said this to you. I think I said this to somebody else, but one thing that's hard about the first one is that it's 4.5 hours long. It does, by the time it's over, I do feel like it's still a beginning of the story,
yeah.
which gets into like the rest of the anthology. I think that can be kind of a tough feeling, honestly. Like, I mean, to watch all that and be like, wait, I mean, it is a complete narrative in a way, but it does feel like there's more. The reason I think the second one is so easy to watch is because even though it's long, it is just one complete narrative.
Yeah. I think the second one is a lot more straightforward in that front. And yeah, the first one literally like this we should to definitively say we're getting into spoilers now. But
okay, yeah, it's spoilers.
It's spoiler territory now. But the first one, it ends basically on the first scene of the film, right?
Mm-hmm.
They go back to the first scene of the film and you're like, oh, that's what led up to this point. And to your point, that's kind of where things are getting rolling, you know? That's kind of when the ball starts rolling, and everything up until that point is just like monologues, exploring these characters. I mean, the first hour and a half is like these different characters that aren't the main character of the film. Like you look at like a Letterboxd synopsis at the top or like Wikipedia or whatever, it's like, this is about Michaela Trapp Sinclair, and it's like she doesn't show up until an hour and a half into the movie.
Bravo.
Yeah,
I say,
because the first hour and a half, if we want to talk about it a bit, is about this guy who is a R9K browser. He's you know, it starts with the incel Superman scene where he's just talking about that shit. He works, he's in film school and he works on set for these films, and he's like, you know, bottom of the barrel sort of person working there, like making sure these sets that they're working on are cleared, and trying to work his way up in network, and it's not really working out for him. He's got a girlfriend that doesn't really understand him too much and is like asking a lot of him, and is being a little bit over the top and maybe a little manipulative towards him. There's like scenes where like he's trying to hang out with his friends that he hasn't seen in a while because he's so busy, and she like makes him cancel and stuff like that. She makes him act more masculine than he's clearly comfortable with, although he's not like very outward about it, right? He just has a lot that's expected out of him in his position in life and like in his interpersonal relationships, and then everything just sort of starts to crumble. And that's the first hour and a half. I mean, I don't know if you have more to say about it.
Definitely the most difficult section to watch, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, I guess because I hadn't been sold on the film yet. I mean, going into that opening section, that was the challenge. I'm like, oh, why should I believe this film? And I don't like. I mean, the opening scene I thought was a guiding force in a way. I was like, okay, this is interesting. Like, it gave me some sense of trust. But just to watch this like relationship collapse, it's miserable.
Yeah.
And it does tie into this, like, I mean, there's always a part of me is like, oh, are people actually like this? Do people actually talk like this?
Yes, is the answer.
Well, and it felt like, I mean, there's a time where I was like, oh, trying to make fun of, like, there's a part where they see the friends and they start talking about sort of like Twitter memes. Like, oh, the kids want to like yearn for the mines.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is this supposed to be like condescending? It's like, is it trying to say like, this is what like normal people talk about? And that's like, maybe I'm projecting, because I don't know. It's like, am I putting myself in a trap? And I think that scene is like trying to be like condescending a little bit.
There's always questions like that with these films, and it's like, how much of this is the director like saying something about herself, or like how much of this is like her trying to say something about specific groups of people, whether it's about like trans women or fucking, in this case, like normies, right?
Well, that idea becomes important, actually, and this is where you get into like, there are some interesting parallels between the two films. Oh fuck, there's too much to talk about. We're gonna be here like forever.
That's fine. I'll just definitely need to pee at some point again, or a few times.
Let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, oh, where do I fucking start? I mean, okay, one thing that gave me a sense of trust, that I almost felt insecure about saying it, because it's like, person who's watched, I'm saying the Twitter meme now, person who's watched Boss Baby watching over films.
Is that a Twitter meme?
something like that.
I fucking love Boss Baby, so I don't.
Well, yeah, no, it's like the idea that somebody watches like or reads one thing and that's all they can compare it to.
Oh, sure.
Because I was thinking about the book Nevada by Imogen Binney, which, like, I mean, I guess like, oh my, like, it's a book written by a trans woman about a trans woman. And the plot of the book is, that this woman runs away from like the city and goes, I guess, to Nevada. And there's this other guy who's working in this dead end town at Walmart. And, he's obviously a repressed trans woman. And the implication is that, like, the first person thinks she's gonna, like, save him. And so I'm sorry, I'm spoiling the book, but, like, it's kind of, there's, like, a failed...
Please spoil the book.
Yeah, there's kind of a failed catharsis. Like, it doesn't really happen. Like, the woman doesn't, like, convince him. And he just goes back to his girlfriend. And the ending implication is that, he's just kind of unsatisfied. And in particular, he's gonna have, like, he's having like sexual problems, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he can't like be with his girlfriend. And the film explores a kind of like Jane Schoenbrunn was supposed to direct the adaptation of this film, and it's been canceled. And I just wonder, like, is it, if it's like wrong to be like, oh, it's like the one trans book I've read. But I was watching the part one, and I was like, okay, like it's kind of similar.
Yeah, I mean, like
yeah,
he's presumably it was him that made a 4chan post that's shown on the screen. That's like posted on like R9K, I think, and it's just like, God, it's just like the fucking bagel set where he's just like, God, I wish I was a woman, you know, like it's just like that
That's
sort
what
of
I'm saying.
like doom
I mean,
posting, and it's like implied that it's from this guy, and like if they showed that and it like wasn't him posting it, then you can tell the signs are all there that like this is like someone who is lost and is like, his character is a repressed trans woman. Like in my eyes, that's like clearly what they're going for, right?
I feel like I haven't read enough, but I feel like I haven't seen that many people mention it. But to me, that is like why it's there, and I think that idea, that reference point, kind of guided me more into it, because the thing you said about this idea of normies is a thing that's actually like a topic, like it's explored. It's particularly in the second one.
Yeah.
This idea of like us via them, and what like I guess the normie world is like, you know, versus like this queer world, right? And they're parallels. It's there in the first one, but it's I think it's heavily explored in the second one in a way I think is pretty interesting, actually.
Like in the second one, yeah, like that theme, it's kind of like in the Sandy Cheeks movie, like comparing Bikini Bottom versus like the surface world. You know what I mean?
Well, that's that's what I think it works about the second one. It's like it's almost like a pros and cons list of both, and I think it arrives, like, to me it's not that depressing because it has a pretty reasonable conclusion about how like, you know, these are kind of separate worlds, and they each have like kind of, you know, their own problems.
Yes, I think the second one does a really it's a very artistic and thoughtful exploration of that sort of contrast between having like this like safe haven where everyone is trans and communist and looks out for each other versus the quote unquote real world, you know, full of everyone that you meet is either like someone that's psychotic or is transphobic or is a detransitioner. Like, you know, it's just like everyone that you run into, you know, in that film, everyone that the protagonist circle runs into once she escapes the trans basement drug cult is just
that's the plot of the second one.
Yeah, that is the plot of the second one. Is you know, everyone that she meets is basically just transphobic, and that's it's the two extremes, right? It's like, I don't know, I feel like we can get more into that once we talk about the second film more in depth. We're kind of on the
that's true.
We should talk more about the first part of the first
lost.
one. Yeah.
yeah
I don't know, like he's this guy is lost. He's in a shitty relationship. He's an R9K browser. He's got a girlfriend who is drawing furry porn for money.
Draws furry porn.
Yeah, she's drawing like a furry porn commission. This is one of the most memorable scenes of chapter 1. And he's like on his phone reading out posts from R9K just verbatim and just laughing at them. And then, like, you know, his girlfriend is like, what is this? And he's like, oh, it's just the incel board on 4chan. I'm reading it because it's so ridiculous. Like, but it's clear that, like, you know, he goes on it all the time and like relates to some of these things that he's saying. But these are actual posts from R9K that he's reading, which is something that I appreciate about these films, is that he is reading real 4chan posts. They show real 4chan posts in the movie. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. Like, usually they'll if they are showing like an actual website, like if they're going that far, usually they're making everything up. But no, like these they literally like go into the darkest depths of the internet, TM, and just like read all of this shit and just show it in the movie.
Well, it's so interesting. I don't want to keep jumping movies, but I mean the way they use them in both, I think, is actually kind of genius.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to have just 4chan and be like, oh, look at 4chan. But to me, it seems like they effortlessly start extracting meaning from these posts in a way that is well integrated or comes out of the blue. Like, I mean, the fact in this chapter, they start talking about findom.
Yeah.
in a way that becomes like kind of like a loaded theme, you know, like it's interesting. Like,
yes.
I mean, it's not like explicit, but the way that sort of jumps out within the post, I'm like, oh, there is something to this like selection that they've chosen. Not them. I mean, I say that I'm like, oh, I'm like agreeing with them, but like, you know what I mean? Like, there's interesting. It's an interesting topic when you start bringing the money into the factor, right? Because it calls upon, I guess, actual structure of things, right?
Yeah, but in a way, like the first chapter of the film feels so different than the second chapter of the film. Like, obviously, the part 1 and part 2, like the two films, are different, but it's just interesting seeing trying to compare the stories of, you know, this man. What the fuck is his name?
Oh, I had the list up.
Just like incel guy, you know? Like, it's interesting comparing him to Traps, which we haven't talked too much about, but, you know, the person who this film is mainly centered around for the remaining 3 hours after chapter 1. And
yeah, I don't have a lot to say about chapter 1 on its own, to be honest.
Well,
it's more stuff related to the other chapters.
I like that scene in chapter 1 because it's very relatable. Like, me being someone that was like young and naive, like going on these parts of the internet and being like, wow, these people are so ridiculous, and, you know, maybe like sharing that with a friend or something. But that scene where he's reading it to his girlfriend is so funny because he's like I don't know if I'm gonna have to censor this. He's like reading the post word for word, and he's saying the word faggot like a lot. And then like his girlfriend is like, "Can you not say faggot?" Or like she's like, "Can you not say that?" And he's like, "Say what?" And she's like, "The F slur." And he's like, "It's in the post." And it's like, that's like the exact excuse that I would use like back in the day if I was in this situation. And then she's just like, I don't know, can you not say faggot? And she's like, you can keep reading though. Like, while she's drawing this furry coming and like asking him like, well, do you think like he should be mid cum, or do you think he should be like about to come? Like, I don't know why, but that's just like one of the realest fucking scenes I've ever seen in my life.
The juxtaposition between me going this rant earlier, it's like, it's actually full of meaning, and if you think so, you're wrong. And then us being like, yeah, so basically in the scene where she's drawing like furry porn, we're debating whether the furry should come or not.
I don't know. I think this is something that just is throughout the first film. Like, throughout the first film, there were so many scenes of conversations that I feel like I've had in different contexts, and just it explores these like relationships and friendships with people that just feel so relatable to me, and they feel like not necessarily people I'm still talking to, but people I've like encountered in like queer spaces, and just like, you know, when I was like all around the States and just like lost as a person, you know. I ran into so many people that are like these characters, and I don't know, there's something about that really hits. And there's something about this fucking stupid Letterboxd review that I saw for the movie that pissed me off. That was this trans woman that was like, I don't relate to anything that Louise Weird is saying about her own trans experience. Oh, do you think I'm supposed to smile and laugh because she uses terms from the LGBT board? And like shit like this. It's like, I never fucking went on the LGBT board. Like, that's not my experience, but I still thought that like there was so much about this film that was like relatable, and that I've not seen any other film explore in such like a raw way. Like, I can't imagine being someone that sees that like 4chan is like mentioned in this movie and immediately hate it because of that, and immediately assume that the director is talking about her own experience. like she is playing the main character in the film, but like maybe that's a little hard to like excuse, but I don't know.
I get it. Well, it's interesting. I mean, because like that debate. I mean, this in particular, the second one. It's one of those like hardwired questions I always go to, which is almost like ends up being too simplified for me. Where I'm like, oh, this film. You know, I've been like raised to kind of object to cynicism in film because I was like, oh, I don't know what it has to offer to me. Like, you know, to me, film is more interesting when it is able to describe cynicism, draw it upon from real places, and then kind of counter it in effective ways.
Yeah.
And I mean, these films are pretty sad. Like, I mean, they're bittersweet. The second one's pretty sad. I mean, I found it's bittersweet.
Depending on how you look at it, yeah. I think they're both bittersweet.
Yeah, bittersweet's a better word. But the reason I, you know, am able to jump from, is we just being put through misery, is the idea that it's like when you have a camera, like what do you choose to point it at? And this idea of, you know, pointing it at these specific experiences and being like, these deserve to be captured, right? And these these have meaning. Like,
yeah.
And I'm going to put this in, you know, throw a drop into the ocean of cinema. And just to have these moments survive through that. I think that is like there is a lot of meaning and beauty to that.
That's a perfect way of describing how I felt about this shit. Like that's exactly the feeling that I had, where it's like, yeah, these things need to be remembered and like immortalized through cinema. And I think the way that she's doing it is good, and it doesn't necessarily have to like contradict any of the beliefs that these characters have or like the experiences that these people are going through. I don't know if it's even trying to say a specific things about them, but
well, with the 4chan stuff, I think in the first one in particular, I mean, there are people, right, maybe who end up isolated, where, you know, you try, and maybe, you know, it's the internet, there are all sorts of ways to do this, and this ties into the second one. But when, you know, kind of isolated and alone with these feelings, like, I guess, you know, as fucked up as it is, like, you know, the LGBT board is one form of that. And I think the movie taps into the idea of, like, you know, people trying to go to this place to have that connection, even though it's sort of, you know, its own cynical community in itself.
Yeah. Yeah, and like, these characters are characters that are lost in their own ways. And like, yeah, I think in the people in our generation, it's not uncommon for people that feel lost and like they have no place or people that they can tell about these inner thoughts. They end up in places like that. And that's like the difference between the incel Superman guy and Traps, right? Is that the incel guy is like saying the most like stereotypical like, oh, I wish I was a girl sort of posts, and then like the film towards the end of it, it's just, we haven't even talked about Traps yet, but like she responds to one of his posts. I don't know if it's on LGBT or R9K, but she's just like, take the pink pill, faggot. Like, she doesn't give a fuck, you know? She's just like in these places, and like she's like a very evil character, you know? She's like a piece of shit, even more so than the incel guy, in my opinion. But I don't know. Maybe they're both equal levels of pieces of shit. They both do some pretty fucked up things. But the contrast between them is interesting, and using 4chan as a narrative device and bringing them together in that way towards the end is like, I've just never seen that done before. I don't know. It's insane.
Well, yeah, the juxtaposition, I think, with, you know, the incel Superman, there is this idea, oh, if I transitioned, my life would be better, I would escape this heterosexual misery, right? Or maybe that's not even an idea that he registers, but it's like kind of woven into the subtext that you're just kind of stuck in this and,
yeah,
you know, longing for something else. But then, am I Am I supposed to just call her Michaela?
Her name is Traps. They call her Traps.
Yeah, I mean, with Traps, right? She is, she's transitioned. She's very much in this world, and life is still difficult. I think, that's the juxtaposition, right?
Yeah.
This is yearning for life to be better, but then the reality of it, like being in that, and like, oh, life is still pretty hard. But also, that movie is it's kind of the arc going on, but like being more positive about community, right? And kind of exploring the line of like giving into community or like relying on that, and because I mean the main dynamic is with her and Adeline, right?
Yeah, Adeline being her
And
roommate who plays guitar in a band with their well, she's a trans woman, plays guitar in a band with a trans man, and she's also in a relationship with them. Their relationship is explored as a plot device constantly, and like their band performances are used as like set pieces and ways to move the plot.
yeah, because I mean she's recently transitioned, right? And sort of does seem to have more of this sort of like hopeful. I mean, it's presented as kind of naive, right? But that's an interesting dynamic to me.
Yeah.
Because then you have these three entities: one who's never transitioned, right? Somebody who's has transitioned, like been taking HRT for a while, and then somebody who is kind of still like coming to understand this world. And I think they do play off each other quite well.
I think so too. Even if like the incel guy is like he just sort of given his time on the screen, and then like that story is just sort of like discarded until can we say it? Like, can we say how the two worlds collide? Is that I might as well.
Also, when they, yeah.
Well, yeah, like 4 hours into the movie, they they fucking two worlds collide, right? And I forget what is it? Is it Traps and Adeline like confronting incel guy and his girlfriend and saying like, oh, like, does she look like a girl or something like that? Or like, which characters are doing that?
Also, is it Adeline or like Adeline? How do you even
Adeline? I don't know. I don't think it matters.
Okay, I think it's
Well,
Adeline.
this is the scene. I'm realizing this is the scene that you were like asleep for or something, right?
Well, that's what I don't know. This is where I'm like, what was happening with me? Because it blew my mind when I saw it again. But I was like, how did I not pick that up? Like, was I just like brain dead at that point? Oh, that was a pun on accident. But
I think it's Traps and Adeline or Adeline or whatever the fuck. And Traps is like, oh, like, does she look like a woman to you? And then like incel guy's like, well, she clearly presents as a woman. Maybe I'm getting the characters wrong, but it definitely was Traps and incel guy that like interacted with each other. They
intersect outside the cafe.
Yeah, and I was just that was like the craziest fucking payoff to me ever, by the way, because you're 4 hours into this movie, you watch the first hour and a half, it's this incel guy and his furry porn commission artist girlfriend, and then you see Traps and like her ragtag bunch of friends, my other favorite phrase, and they're hanging out, they're all living together. And then the two worlds collide, and it's just for like incel guy to be like, well, she definitely presents as a woman, like even though he's posting on fucking like he's like doom posting on 4chan about wanting to be a woman, right? So I don't know.
This is why I was going to rewatch. I didn't realize parallels part 2.
Yes,
the parallels the scene in part 2. Yeah, I didn't.
It does.
Maybe I was pretty asleep then if I wasn't picking up on the parallels.
I don't know. It's interesting how Traps is first introduced in this film. Like she's introduced, she's living with like this guy that kind of looks like Atomic Catacombs, and then like Adeline, and does Adeline's boyfriend live with them as well, or like does he just fucking hang out with them? I feel like he just hangs out with them.
I think just hangs out with them.
Yeah, but they live together, and like some apartment, and like the first scene with her, Traps is like talking to the fucking Atomic, and is like, yo, like, have you heard of transmaxing? Like, if you can't find a woman, then like you could just transition and you'll get so much sex. And then is like measuring him out and going through all of these like awful things about bone structure and shit like that. And it's like, yeah, like this character is supposed to be a piece of shit. I don't know how people didn't catch that in the fucking letterbox reviews.
Oh, that's interesting. That's all. The bone measuring thing is also kind of a parallel.
Yes, these are the tropes that are brought up, and the way that they work with them, I think is more innovative in part two. But it is interesting bringing these conversations up. You know, I feel like I've had conversations like that, maybe more jokingly than what they're doing, you know, in that scene, and just a lot of these conversations that they have about being trans and these struggles that they have. Another parallel, or not a parallel, but another like end of the spectrum is seeing someone on the letterbox reviews that is just like, oh my god, it's so awesome that they are showing Traps doing an HRT injection on cinema. It's HRT injection in a movie. And it's like, is that your only takeaway from this movie? You watch 4.5 hours and you're like, oh, it's cool that she did an injection on screen. Like, yeah, it's cool that she did it, but it's like, I think it's trying to say a lot more.
You know?
I guess so. It's just like, I feel like I didn't read a bunch of reviews or anything. I didn't listen to any like podcasts or whatever on it. I know like YMS did a podcast on this movie and also seemed to really like
a
it.
watch through of the second one.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. But I didn't want to listen to any people's thoughts, at least in that format. But I couldn't help but read some of the letterbox reviews, and holy shit, some people really do not have a lot to say about about these movies, which is shocking to me. Maybe I'm not saying much in the grand scheme of things, but I definitely.
That's how I felt, because I get like, oh, sorry, I cut you off.
No, I definitely have an extreme amount of stray thoughts on these films, and they've stuck with me a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I like, I'm trying to figure out what I felt. I started looking at letterbox reviews, which is, I guess, is bad, because then you're not figuring out how you felt. You're figuring out how other people felt.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes you more lost, if anything. And yeah, I guess, I don't know. Like, but then I go to write myself. I'm like, oh wait, you know, I talked about the Nevada thing, but I didn't know if I had any. Like, to me, it was such a swirling thing that I didn't know how to capture. But I guess that's like an excuse. Like, I was like, my thoughts are so big about this movie, I don't even know where to begin. But it was overwhelming. It was intimidating especially because it's kind of intense topics at times.
It's very intense. Yeah, like there's some extremely uncomfortable scenes in these movies.
You know, I was gonna say earlier, like, yeah, I mean, even just being like, I don't, okay, be like, oh, like, you're prepared for that kind of thing, right? But I was thinking about, like, even just like influences of what like people like, right? I mean, you were saying, I wanted to say this earlier about the long scenes thing, and like if that just inherently gives things meaning, because it is a specific kind of filmmaking, and I think it does sort of end up capturing a specific kind of meaning. But like, I mean, I do feel like I was here or ready to be like, oh, these scenes, like, I'm glad these scenes are long, because it's not listed as influences, but I really like John Cassavetes, right? And his films are kind of challenging to watch at times, because, you know, they have, like, there's this movie like Husbands, right? And it's about these men whose like friend dies, and they start sort of like regressing into this sort of out of control, like almost like fraternity state, right? Where they're like terrible, and they're like completely out of their minds. And that film has a scene. The second one reminded me of it because there's a scene where they're pissing in the bathroom for a long time. That is a scene at a bar where they get like drunk and then they're like throwing up in toilets, and I swear it's like half an hour long. And I was surprised, like, part of me was like, oh, was shit like that an influence? But I didn't see it. But like, I mean, of course my mind went there, because it's like I'm being put through a scene where people are throwing up for half an hour, right? And like,
yeah.
I mean, I like those movies. They're difficult to watch, but I just stick with you, right? And just like, I don't know, those movies seem to speak to being like in these sort of kind of fucked up states, right? And like the plea, like that plea you have for whether it be like human connection or just like this desperation within you, like this is the only film that depicts stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think like when you push scenes to their limit, into their exhaustion, you acquire sort of a new feeling, which I think is pretty cool.
Definitely. And like I think that the film benefits from having that. And I think I only noticed like one or two cuts in scenes. Maybe like actors broke or something. Definitely in part 2 there's like a cut that I noticed. But generally it's just these long shots that don't break. Sometimes they go on for half an hour. And it feels so fucking immersive, and it feels like it's able to really get to the core of like what it's saying and like who these characters are. And I was developing weird like parasocial relationships with them while watching, because like you spend so much fucking time watching them, right? Huh?
Yeah, I guess my point with what I was saying with the John Cassavetes thing in relation to like Letterboxd, right, is I don't want it to come off as like it's like, oh, because I like these movies, like I like am more prepared to like kind of like get the good shit, like, but it's more so that is, I mean, that's a reasonable hurdle for a lot of people to getting to the human stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I think it is like the avenue that is one way to access human stuff in film. Even though
for sure.
It's like it's emotionally a lot.
Well,
I mean, should we start talking about the second one?
I have some straight thoughts about the first one, but first I need to have my own tranny pissing scene, and I need I'm probably gonna cut that out.
It's podcast.
I need I'm glazing over my notes here, and a lot of what I'm mentioning is just like baby sensory tier observations. And I feel like we've touched on a lot of like the themes and a lot of what these movies are going for, and I prefer that over just saying like, oh, this scene, the scene where Sandy fought the snakes was kind of scary, like, because I have a lot of these notes that are like, oh, they have a Pinkie Pie Pez dispenser on the wall of like, Trap's not boyfriend.
Oh wait, that is worth mentioning.
I think that probably is worth mentioning. Just her relationship with her not boyfriend is very heartbreaking to me, because I don't think we've even mentioned, but yeah, she's like a sex worker, and that plays into everything with like her life and like the plot. So like Adeline is at her wit's end at her job, and is like, she had to come out to everyone at her job. They're not respecting her pronouns. They're not respecting her as a person, and like she's just getting really fucking fed up. She's also just not having a good time in general and needs more money. She feels like she might lose her job.
At one point she says she's considering detransitioning. I guess it's more towards the end, but
which is sadly relatable. But yeah, I feel like the detransition brainworm is something that like will appear for everyone who transitions at one point, if not as just an intrusive thought. So I feel like the themes of detransition in these movies are like explored very well. We can touch on that more when we talk about the second one a bit more in detail. But yeah, Traps is a piece of shit in this, and is a sex worker, and is like willing to let Adeline like do a sex work gig essentially, and is like, like throwing her into the business, and is, I think that is kind of a shitty thing to do. And I think that just like made me upset. There are a lot of things that Traps did that just like made me upset. She's like a very sad, desperate, fucked up person, but like the questions are like, can you blame her for that given like her circumstances, right? And like, I don't know. I think it's interesting to have this sort of like evil trans woman character be the protagonist of a film, right? I don't think that's something that's ever been explored before. Even if they're doing a lot of things that have never been put to camera, and I think that that's good. And like progressive. I think it's more interesting to have her as like the main character of the film. This like piece of shit who is extremely like LGBT bored, brain rotted, that is willing to like, even if she's like willing to like throw Adeline under the bus like that and just put her in like a really scary situation, they also have this relationship together that is explored in a scene that I have to mention. But Adeline is basically breaking down over the phone, calling Traps, and is like, hey, you know, like they keep misgendering me at work, you know, things aren't like going too well with my boyfriend and stuff, like we have this gig or whatever. And then like Traps is like, you know, baby, like it's gonna be fine, like, you know, remember when we were just like this two little like queer boys that didn't know anything, and they like describe like this like really embarrassing like anal sex sort of interaction that they have, which is the funniest way I could describe that. And it's honestly heartfelt, talking about like how they were just like two lost queer teens trying to figure themselves out, and that they've been there together for each other for so long. But at the same time, later in the film, Traps uses that against Adeline and is like, yeah, like I was the one that first gave you your estrogen. I was the one that first showed you this shit. And she's constantly like dogging on like all the outfits that Adeline is like picking and stuff like that. So I just think that sort of dynamic between them is like really interesting to watch, and like really good to see develop over the film. And I don't know, there's just a lot to bite into with this movie. That's just like one aspect of it, but there's a lot of these like plot lines going on and things that like are just building and building and building. And like one of the most intense scenes is like they're in a kitchen and like there's just steam being released from like a teapot or something like that, and it's just like it goes off for like 3 minutes straight, and it's when the tension is probably at the highest in the film, and that shit like had me on the fucking edge of my seat. I felt like my brain was gonna explode in the best way.
See, maybe I should
I don't
have
know.
said this during the intro part, but about like perhaps I guess her character arc, if you can use such a word, because I know it's not going for that clean cut. That's why, as I said earlier, it's so long, because it helps with that. But this is broader picture. One of the things that kept me going back was the respect they had for this being a complete trilogy, right? Or a complete like 12-hour film. Like it's not just about the parts. It would have been a 12-hour film if they didn't have to like break it up, or just make them along the way, right?
Yeah.
The idea that this is an anthology, they're all connected. And more, I guess I can talk about it now. Yeah, because I saw one thing that they mentioned was some inspirations, right? Like the Channel Awesome films, right? This was inspired by, which I guess is something I should have mentioned because that's its own topic in its own right. But also, there's this film, Out One, it's called. It was supposed to be a television series, I'm pretty sure, but that's a 12-hour film, right? And it's like, that is like one entity. That is just a 12-hour film. So in my head, I was like, okay, like maybe it's like that. Maybe I can only comment on it once I see all 3 parts. And, as you know from the trailer, in the third part, they go back to these characters. So I had this, call it wish, if you would, that it, in the third part, to see like Traps really like grow. Like I think that would be extremely moving. And I also thought it'd be extremely genius to have like a 12-hour film where 5 hours of it just fuck off to someplace else and then come back to the same characters and have them have like meaningful change.
I would love to see the characters from movie 1 and see like anything with them, just more of it, because it's like I feel like it still says a lot with ending where it does, but I went into these movies so blind that I thought the second one was going to be a continuation of the first one, and it's just not. It's entirely new characters, There's no gotcha moment where it's like, look, they're interacting with each other now. It's like, no, they're not even in the same country. Wait, is North America a country?
Well, yeah, once the continent.
Continent. Okay, I was right.
Canada,
Yeah.
the U.S.
Let me just discount every opinion I've thrown out.
No, but you know what I found out though that kind of okay. I mean, I'll follow them to the end, but it is kind of hilarious. There's gonna be 5 of these.
I thought I saw that at some point, and it's like, what the fuck?
Because I was like, oh wait, trilogy.
Yeah.
That's like perfect. But I mean, I guess I could still see them doing the home run. It's just ridiculous now. It's like, okay, I guess I can see the third one being like a middle one, and then the fourth one fucking off to someplace else again, and the fifth one, like, maybe that's too clean cut once again. But my point is what we were saying with, like, watching Traps, like, I mean, have a character arc over such a long period of time. I can see it happening. I think it would be moving. I don't know if they're going to make it as, like, you know, maybe Hollywood is, maybe I'm describing it. But I think it's there, and I think it's happening. It's just, we've only begun to see the seeds of it. Or it would balance out the more difficult parts pretty well, or make it more moving. You know, one thing I mentioned, I guess it's not really that important, but I was talking about Cassavetes earlier, and one of the reasons I thought of him is because there's like a Swan Lake motif in this film. I mean, the chapter is literally called Trap Swan Princess. And that's another thing. Cassavetes is a movie that also uses Swan Lake. And I was wondering what they were... I guess I don't, like, have much to say about that, but it was interesting. I was wondering what, like... I guess it's striking to me the idea of, like, you know, Trap's transformation, if you would, if that was sort of the, like, some sort of kind of implication.
Trap's transformation. Do you mean TFTG?
I guess that.
I don't know if I could keep that.
You have to cut that. Anyway,
I don't know. I'm. I think honestly I'm here for it in terms of there being 5 films, and I wonder if like all of them are gonna end up being like 24 hours cumulatively. And if so, then you could take the Castration Movie challenge and stay up and watch them all in a row. But it's like they did the thing where it's like, okay, you know, you watch the first film the night before the second one, they're doing a new screening. Are they gonna keep that up? Are they gonna go to LA and be like, this entire week, every weekday, you do Monday the first one all the way to Friday the 5th one?
That's
like,
fucking power.
Just spend a week. I don't know. The films are very immersive, and I want to see more of the characters in the first one. I thought a lot of these scenes were they were just like kind of a little too real. You know what I mean? Like just seeing the way the characters treat each other, and just seeing a lot of their like interpersonal relationships just like unravel and like grow and fall apart. It felt really real, and I think the only thing that really took me out of the first film was the scene that I mentioned earlier, where like Traps is on the phone with Adeline, and you can hear the actor for Adeline in the other room in that apartment or house that they were filming in, when they're supposed to be in completely different towns. You can hear her on the phone talking in the other room. Just like this technical error that I don't know how they just glossed over. It kind of pissed me off. Everything else, it's like, okay, you see someone look at the camera once or twice, that like, you know, it's just one of Louise Weird's friends or someone that she like got off like Craigslist or something. Like, you can excuse that and be like, okay, this is part of the course on an independent film, but come on, like I don't know how. I had to show that scene to a few people, and some of them didn't pick up on what I'm talking about right away. And I'm like, how is this not like glaringly obvious that she's right there in the other room? Other than that, I don't think there were a lot of real like technical issues. And like we said about the party scene in 2, it's supposed to be inaccessible and uncomfortable, and you know, it's supposed to feel like you're at the party, so it's fine if you can't hear what everyone is saying. But I don't know. Just next time have the actor for Adeline just like step outside. Like she didn't have to be in the room over where you could fucking hear her. Come on.
I guess it's a double-edged sword, because what you're describing, like those anchors of the moments, I would say are touching and beautiful, not just in the relationships, but also sort of like the way they pair them with certain lo-fi beauty in a way. Like that one scene, I guess it's the phone call. Maybe when they're talking about when they were younger, but like the snow is coming down. Like to me, that like the lo-fi quality of that's quite beautiful. Same thing, honestly, with like, I mean, even on the opposite end, in a scene that's not like it's like hard to watch and not like beautiful, I would say, like in the traditional sense. The breakup scene in the first chapter when they just are shooting in front of like a lamp store. To me, that's like the cool stuff with lo-fi filmmaking, that they're just they just have this one store that they could use as a background, and it kind of makes for an interesting shot.
I like that scene, yeah. But I like, on the other hand, I don't know why they're going so Dogma 95 with it. Like, is there a reason why the film is lo-fi?
I mean, making things for extremely low budgets, right? It's just one means of doing it,
I suppose, and I guess there doesn't necessarily need to be some greater meaning for it or behind it. It's just,
well, I mean, it gets into the nature of, like, I guess, true independent cinema, if you would, right? People who want to capture something, who only have access to certain means, right? Using those tools in a way to capture what they want to capture, and finding the avenue to which you can express yourself. Sometimes that's a limited thing from, in many ways from where you are in life. I think that does add some kind of meaning to trying to capture these scenes, right? Like,
yeah.
You're not going to get Hollywood level production, which, by the way, I should mention is kind of, I mean, present in the movie. There is, a kind of a Hollywood critique in both of them. I mean, you have the person working as a PA, right? It's in the opening scene. He gives like he's giving him the passionate argument against Superman. He's just dismissed by some like faceless, kind of exec or whoever it might be on the production. And it kind of captured this feeling that this guy knows why Superman is more meaningful than maybe that the film sets do. And it is sort of it's coming up boxing, right? Or like, maybe arguing its own fight. But I think I like that stuff a lot, I mean,
yeah.
Maybe I'm biased, but there's the character in the second one who's like, I'm on the run from Hollywood. And I think there's subtext there. I mean, you can't make a movie like this normally, with people with orgies and all these fucking sex scenes, and even just showing like somebody's top surgery. Like, you think you could put that in a studio film?
Yeah, maybe now is the time to mention that, like, for these films, in honor of SpongeBob, I partook in a square substance, and it kicked in during chapter 2 of the first film.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, what I'm trying to say is seeing top surgery scars on acid was kind of fucking awesome. Like, I was like, this is the human experience, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we should be upfront with that stuff, right? Because I mean, everybody has their perspective on drugs, but I feel like it is extremely interesting, especially because I think that stuff pairs with like long movies really well. And also, I mean, it adds, I think to some it is like, oh, that makes any movie interesting. But I disagree. I think, if anything, the movie
disagree as well.
The movie better be good, or you're gonna go fucking psycho.
Yeah, exactly. And like, it helped me get, I will say it helped me get sucked into these films, and like, I wasn't really looking at like how much time is left or anything like that. I was just like fucking letting it take me for a ride, and
which is a good feeling. I mean,
it was incredible
like that. Yeah. I mean,
and like,
I should admit that I had before when I watched the second half of the second one, I'd smoked. But I guess it's not that, maybe it's not that important. Just putting it out there for full transparency.
Just so listeners know, we do drugs.
You can't trust our. Well, I have to be upfront and honest about the experience I had.
If anything, I think it's funny bringing this up this long into the podcast.
That is true.
Just like how some of these films just like, will hit you with a fucking bombshell like 3 hours in. But yeah, like I mentioned,
that's why I had a heart attack during the party scene the second time. Go on.
Hi, this is B, like weeks after we recorded this, trying to finally edit this and put this out, but I thought I should mention that Tin's fucking computer got full during this podcast at this moment. So if their mic sounds like kind of shitty from the rest of it, don't put that on me. Just enjoy rest of podcast. Hell, goodbye. Like I mentioned, showed these films to my friend Kai. I was watching the first one, and then he started watching the first one. I took like a break during the intermission to shower. Didn't take too long. I come back and like I have like, almost 45 minutes left with the film, and he just messages me and is like, finish part 1. I'm like, what? And like my time was a little out of whack. and then yeah, like I mentioned as well, he later revealed to me he watched it on 1.5 speed. And he also hated it. He kept referring to Traps as trans Amy Schumer, which I thought was the funniest fucking shit. And like he shared his notes document with us, which I don't think I'll be going over much of, unfortunately, because it's not very I don't know how much of it I could share, but some of the funniest observations I think I've read about the movies. I love his perspective on things. But
it was pretty funny.
Yeah, we all convened to watch the second one together, me, you, and Kai. And I watched the first half of that while I was still on acid, and then Kai's like power was going to cut out. So we decided to reconvene the next day and watch the rest of the film while I was sober. And guess what, haters, I still enjoyed it. I still thought it was amazing. So it's not
that's the ultimate gotcha.
Yeah. But holy fucking shit, I just remember I start watching the second one and like I just DM you like LOL because like, and then you just DM'd it back to me because the start of the second one is like,
I knew exactly what you're talking about.
It's just this like, it's just Trump talking on like a CRT or maybe it's just a normal television or something, right? And he looks like this fucking zombie. Someone like tries to egg him on answering about like trans issues or something, and he just kind of doesn't give a fuck, but it's just like, it's put there because it's juxtaposed immediately after this opening credits scene with Trump, with Circle, the protagonist, in the bathroom. You don't know where she is. You don't know who she is. And she just like snorts ketamine off of a sink and then just starts like tripping the fuck out. She like... she's just like sitting naked on the floor of this bathroom. Her eyes are dilated as shit. And like the camera is filming her in such a way where it's like her mind is like leaving her body, which is something I've felt before. And it's like, it was very accurate to that feeling. She's bugging the fuck out. And then she walks out of the door. Honestly, like, I'll just say before I describe this, like, if you haven't seen part 2 and if you have no intention of actually watching these films, just watch the first 15 minutes of part 2, and if you like it, then please watch the rest of it because it's amazing. But the first 15 minutes are just Circle walking out into this like into the basement where like most of the film takes place, and it's just like this fucking insane like drug orgy where everyone is like snorting ketamine off of each other and they're all on leashes and they're all making out, and it's just like this fucking like screamo song with like burst beat kick drum, like that's keeps playing, and it's just the most insane fucking opening sequence I think I've seen in anything. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it's like,
the best film of the decade.
yeah, it's the biggest like fucking tone shift ever from the first one, because the first one ends and it's like intense and it's cool, but like this movie just goes full force right away. And then immediately from that goes into like a scene where they're all doing yoga and you start to like meet the characters. But I don't know.
Yeah, that's because I mean, this is what I was saying earlier with, I guess, the first one being grounded, but the psychedelic, if you would, quality of the second one is interesting because, I mean, I think anything that is that long is, well, they're all committed to hyper realism in a way, right? When things are that long, it has to be hyper realistic. But I also think the second one dips in. It kind of has almost an unreality feeling to it sometimes with some of the interactions.
Yes.
And it does a good job to me at slipping between the hyper realism and the unreality.
Definitely. And I think the way it pulls you into that is brilliant. Like, I think the second film, someone in SCAP chat like was saying how much they thought the first one was better than the second one and how a lot of the stuff in the second one didn't work for them, and I kind of felt the opposite. Like, I like the first one, and there are definitely parts of it that stuck with me and that I'll be thinking about for a long time, and I'd love to see it again. But the second one is just like, it's just way more up my alley. Like, it takes place in a basement trans woman only drug cult. And dare I say, this is the first like fish tank-esque film that I've seen, because that was like a thought that I said and you were like, yes, I was thinking that. And I should briefly describe what Fish Tank is. Fish Tank is a online series that is live streamed and then later edited, that takes place in a house where people are not allowed to use their phones, and they are given a series of challenges, but mostly they're trying to win, and the winner is decided by the people that host it. It's hosted by Sam Hyde and Jet Neptune, which, dare I say, are not the best people and may not have the best intentions about any of this. And I watched the first season and like I fell really deeply into the second season. I was watching it live like every day. And it you know, it's, the concept is what I described, and you get to watch these people. You get to send them TTS messages if you pay for it. And the parallel to that is like, this is a trans woman only drug cult where they have this character that is like crudely 3D animated, like a Max Headroom type person named Polygon AI. And the only entity that these people in this cult sort of like have as a form of reference, it's almost like their god, is this TV that is using like this text-to-speech-esque voice that is just talking to them, like spatting ideology and like utter nonsense, like, you know, these weirdly spiritual phrases that don't really make a lot of sense. And it just reminded me a lot of Fish Tank. Like, no one has their phones. They're like all like supposed to, you know, the only thing they're able to gain from the outside world are these like curated nonsense phrases from a text-to-speech voice. And I don't think it's necessarily like criticizing Fish Tank by existing. I think it's just taking that sort of concept, which is like a newer sort of concept, even though, you know, like Big Brother's been around. It's this newer, like more internet focused concept. Like 4chan plays a big part in this one as well in a different way, but it's just so bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I thought Fish Tank was interesting is it does tap into, you know, the internet panopticon type stuff that people talk about in a unique way. And the way they do this in the movie, I think, does actually, it, because I don't know, I feel like in Fish Tank, they're kind of using that to, to torture these people. But then in this movie, they have the control to like kind of comment on a more expanded light.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that because I think one of those statements they also said was the idea of depicting the internet as a place, which is one of those things people say, and I do kind of cross my arms. I'm like, okay, like, everybody wants to do it, but then, the internet is so sort of tailored to people. There's so many like different ways to experience it. It's kind of hard to capture. But rewatching it, I was like, okay, this does tap into certain things that are like real feelings. Even just the shots of them on like the secure, like the being recorded.
Yeah.
Those are like intense shots.
Yeah.
It's like that feeling of like being permanently put into the machine. It's ever present in this film.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know, like they the themes of internet and shit are, I feel like you can't make these sort of films without like, diving heavily into that as a theme, right? I think it's just cuz a lot of like, modern films and stuff, they'll take place in times before phones and before the internet because they're afraid of like embracing it or like accurately portraying it, and it can cause a lot of like plot holes if you're doing something that's more narrative. But the way these films do it is so fucking in your face and so raw and so real that it's to the point where you have a room full of trans women sitting around. Oh, hey, the AI has printed out 4chan posts for y'all to read because you don't have phones.
I mean, that's the stuff, right? Where, okay, AI commentary, right? I've stopped maybe even heard this one before, where it's just so ever present. We're already sick of it before it can be commented on in a way. But this is why I feel like I have more to say about the second one, because in my journey of actually saying I like these films, rewatching the second one in particular is what, not that I didn't like them, but had really sold me in the end. Because even just the 4chan post scene, which they do the same thing, they end up, it's like they're kind of going through, they're kind of sifting through the nonsense, right? There's posts that are like there just because they're funny, but they seem to end up having this actual discussion where they're like talking about these ideas and they're kind of trying to navigate them, and it is kind of overwhelming and hard to navigate. And I feel like I only kind of saw what they were doing when I came back, but even just the fact that it's the AI printing out the 4chan posts, it's like the doubling of the last film. And like the first one is just about people interacting on 4chan, but this next one is this like wacky, internet film where the AI has kind of been trained on 4chan, or it's like calling upon the idea that these messages are, like making up the bulk of like internet's construction, and it's like, they're trying to actually figure out what's like real, or what's like a real idea anymore. I think that's a true feeling that comes with where we're at with the internet. I mean, actually getting to the heart of real ideas.
I think at a base level, that scene and a lot of themes in this movie are like pointing towards the absurdism of this all. And like, like having like an AI print out these messages and then like spout transphobic stuff to a room full of trans women, being like, this is bad optics. Don't you know the bone structure is like this way? I don't know. I thought that shit was insane. I've never seen anything like that. I think there's also a lot more comedy in this film, and comedy that works for me more in this film. Like, they have these printed out 4chan posts.
I would say it's much funnier.
Yeah, it's like way funnier. Circle's reading these 4chan posts and like goes over to Meredith, who's another character, and it's just like, yo, you get any dubs? It's like the absurdity of having printed out 4chan posts and like asking that, and then she's like, yeah, 88. It's just like, it's fucking insanity. Like, I don't know. I think we mentioned on this before, but it's a commentary on there being issues in both the real world and this like fantasy world that you can live in if you want to, right? Like, you can move in with a bunch of trans women that are all communists and all work as a community and as one entity, right? But there's going to be corruption there as much as there will be corruption in the real world. It's just a different type of corruption, right? Not that there's anything inherently wrong about either of these paths, right? And so you see like Circle, like, who is lost and just found her way in this trans drug cult by essentially ending up there how everyone else did, being Discord groomed by this woman named Roxy. You see her escape, and you see her try to literally physically get pulled back into the basement, and you see her reacting with the real world, and you see that she's lost in both aspects. And I think there's a lot to be said there, right? About how if you're lost, like, you're kind of just lost. Like, you have to find meaning within yourself and within this world that is not just related to being trans and is not just related to your identity. And a lot of people will tell you to like seek community, and it's like, well, that's what Circle did by being in this drug call. And even if it's an extreme example of that, it's like no one thing will solve the feeling of being lost. I don't know. I just feel like that's my biggest takeaway from this film.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of even the idea of being lost ties into the whole AI thing. So one thing I found really interesting was the way when they're like talking to it, it kind of captures that feeling that, or that how was happened with like older AI, where they would just repeat back what the people were saying, and they end up sort of just talking to a mirror.
Yeah.
You know, trying to also differentiate like what the computer says, like sometimes it's like they have some random like statements that are kind of like vaguely poetic, and like, or like trying to like figure out if that has any meaning.
A spiral watches
my
you
point
spin,
with,
it does not rotate.
Yeah, I mean, stuff like that, like, you know, trying to actually figure out the self based off sort of this nonsensical labyrinth of information. And much of the movie hinges on the idea of detransitioning is the I think the core of the film.
Yes.
And what ends up happening is that, I mean, Circle is thinking about detransitioning, and she ends up meeting at the party that we described this girl named Keller, played by Ivy Wolk. Is that how you say her last name?
I mean, I couldn't pronounce fucking Adeline, so yeah, that's let's go with Ivy Wolk.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, their relationship is kind of that's like the midpoint in a way.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens at the party scene. It's really the craziest introduction, right? It's like at the party, and the camera just splits the focus on her. This like other entity. It's like there's these two people at this party, like wires are connecting them beneath the ground, and it's just like, you know, at some point they're gonna come into contact with each other, and it's like, what the hell is gonna happen?
Yeah.
And I get, it's interesting, like, this is what I'm saying, it kind of gets into this weird unreality thing, because both Keller and then there's this other girl, I forgot her name. Do you remember?
They keep like Keller keeps forgetting her name in the movie, which is funny.
Oh, oh yeah. Well, I'll
the
get back to it,
the blonde girl that's on the poster. Not like the movie poster, but that's on the fucking letterbox cover. Like,
the backdrop.
Yeah. That girl that we funnily cannot remember the name of.
They become like this weird, like almost like heterosexual sirens in a way, where it's like it's like, oh wait, like if you were a boy, like we would be like making out right now.
Yeah, and like they keep fucking saying that over and over and over again. in a way, like I feel like that was like what Louise Weird directed. Ivy Wolk and this other girl is just like, yeah, go to this party and like work into conversation how you think that she would look better as a boy. And that's kind of all that they talk about over the span of 30 minutes. It's not bad. I mean, the one thing
that got me was, it's because it's like you just lose this information in the length. But when I was rewatching it, that Circle does mentioning being interested in transitioning to Keller in that moment.
Yeah.
And I guess that's one thing that I think is important that I got from the party scene again. But the other thing Keller is an extremely interesting character, I think.
I think so. I think she's played really well as well. I mean, I don't know if we mentioned this, but I think the acting across the board is really fucking good for both of these films. Even if it's a lot of amateur
Well, that's what I was saying.
people,
Like,
I really liked it.
yeah, I mean, just rewatching the control everybody has over the character and the information that each character is supposed to deliver. I was like, this entire cast, they know, like, they have a backstory and they have they have specific things they're supposed to deliver, and they all successfully
Yeah.
do it. I mean, there's a wide cast. You can focus on any of them, and I think they all have interesting stuff going on. I mean, obviously, before I guess I talk about Keller, like, I mean, there's some that are standouts, like Valerie, the cat girl.
Yes, she's my favorite. Like, yeah, they introduce her by she gets into a argument with another girl, and she's. I guess we didn't mention that the only food that they eat in the basement drug cult is hot dogs. So like, there's a lot of talk about like eating hot dogs, and I think she like isn't able to like reach the hot dog or something because like, you know, she's using her hands like paws because she's a cat girl, and she's like, they like bring everyone around in a circle around them, which is funny because, you know, main character's name is Circle. There's a lot of circles in this film, like with the buckets. They have buckets of various substances, including the transition, or including the HRT. They use liquid HRT that they glop on each other. But yeah, Valerie is like, I literally am just a cat. I don't know why you're so upset, because I'm literally just a cat. I was trying to use my paws. And that's how she acts like all the time.
Her ability to deliver like one line that just adds this backstory where it's like, what the hell like is going on here?
Yeah.
Where she talks about like high school and like, you know, like, just, I mean, it's kind of heartbreaking. I mean, the idea that's like, I like, on one hand you could say it's like funny. It's like, oh, your terrible experience is not as bad as what I went through high school. But also, I think it does call upon a real thing. Like maybe she did like actually have a fucking horrifying high school experience, and that's the thing the movie is good at. It walks the line between like that kind of being like funny in a way, but also like that's a loaded statement.
Yeah. I think there's stuff like that
I mean, the
that
fact,
this film is full of, to be honest.
I mean, she has a trait where it's like, I mean, maybe because she wants to be a cat, but like, you know, she's like, oh, I'm not good at spelling, or like can't read, right?
Yeah.
And it's just, yeah, stuff like that really adds to the character, I think. Um, I mean, I guess before I talk about Keller, I was kind of fixated on it. Not to my train of thought without going down all these other roads. But one thing that blew my mind rewatching it was the CIA subplot.
Oh my god, yeah, where one of the women in the basement cult is actually not trans, but she's a Fed, and she's just trying to like get in on the knowledge, but ends up like gaining a relationship, like falling into a relationship with one of the girls there.
I mean, this is the movies are so long, is that when it came back up, I was just like, oh, that's like funny, right? But when I was rewatching it, I was like, no, this person is performing this role. And I mean, it was pretty apparent. It's like, oh, they're actually like talking about it, and like how like Rachel knows she's a Fed. But I mean, it's the little things that I think really make it. Like, I mean, there's even a part where she's talking to AI, and she just starts talking about like 5G towers, right? And rewatching, I'm like, oh, this is a fucking Fed trying to fit in, like using the most blanket conspiracy stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Also, her name is Casper, which I guess is supposed to be like calling upon the idea of like a CIA spook in a way. That was my interpretation.
The names are good. I mean,
The
Circle's name is good.
well, so that's another thing where, and I guess this could tie into when we talk about the ending. But one thing I found rewatching that I realized, which I guess I don't know about this, is that Circle is supposed to either be a Mew user, that be like the 4chan music board, or like a Rate Your Music user. That is like kind of like the archetype she's
Holy
supposed to
shit!
be.
Wait, you're right.
I mean, those things used to be more interchangeable, but I stick with it now. But that realm of music interest, like that kind of archetype.
Yeah.
Because, and this gets into back. This will start. Oh wait, fuck, accidental pun. This circles back to the party, right? But it's just this trait where. So at the end of the movie, she performs the modern gospel song "Will the Circle Be Unbroken," which I guess she got her name from. Which I realized rewatching, she's describing to Meredith that's talking about that song. And there are times where she'll start rambling about bands. And I thought it was funny that, I mean, the first one is about, it's about Phil Spector. And it's a really beautiful scene. It's one of those that has that kind of low pipe. Like, she finally has left the basement and she's walking around New York City in like Times Square. You can barely see it, but it's still like, sort of magical.
Yeah, I love
But
that shit.
she's rambling on to
it's
the
like lit really
one
poor.
girl about, yeah, she's rambling on about Phil Spector. I was kind of up because I was literally doing the Phil Spector thing the other day to my boss at work because we're listening to his Christmas album. And I mean, but like I feel like it does have like meaning to it. The Phil Spector thing is kind of like this like like boomer I murdered my wife story, right? Not to like reduce it like that, but I mean it is this example of like the boomer, like what I'm saying, like this calling upon a fucking fucked up relationship, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And juxtaposing that between like this process of like becoming like heterosexual and like being with this girl who's like, oh, you like want to be with me? I do think that it was like intended in some way, or they seem to relate.
I think so, and
But,
I think that's a good read and everything, but at the same time, maybe this is just me like projecting some insight, but the actor for Circle, they're also a musician in real life. So I feel like Louise Weird was maybe like, you should play a character that can ramble about shit that you actually know about. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, this kind of brings us back to what I was trying to say originally. Oh, actually, before I wanted to say, oh fuck, I have to stay on topic. I just want to say one more thing about the CIA plotline. The part at the end when the obvious Fed shows up and is doing surveillance.
Yes.
That was so fucking funny to me. But it's also like kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something where it's like, I mean, it's, like I said, it's a very like almost Gen Z internet movie, but something like that to me harkens back to like almost like 70s new Hollywood, like the parallax view type shit, where there's like these secret government societies and shit, where it's like it's just a loaded scene. You just have one guy there doing fucking surveillance, and it adds a lot to me. It really, I don't know, it adds sort of kind of terror to it, honestly. I just wanted to put that out there before I lost my fixation on the CIA plotline.
I mean, that's one of the themes in the film, right? Is surveillance. It's like surveillance, detransition, community, and like the feeling of being lost, and like how that manifests in people, and how it causes them to make decisions that may or may not be good for them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like this gets back to the party to keep myself back on track, right? Like, because in that scene, Circle's talking about like Raleig's de nudes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I guess it's just I mean, I guess it is kind of relatable. I mean, that feeling where you just start going on about something and people just like, it's, you wonder if people give a fuck at all, right? And I mean, the word man is fucking flashing on the screen on her sweatshirt.
Yeah.
And it's just like stuff like that. It reminds me, I mean, I don't want to get like ridiculously critical or like kind of sorry. I have to be like I should, think through what I say. But I mean, this is what I'm talking about, the pros and cons of like, the two worlds, where it depicts kind of this more normal world, if you would. And it picks like this modern, like hip living in Bushwick. But it also seems to call upon cultural change. And I mean, in some ways, like the ways that Gen Z actually isn't very like woke, and they've kind of gone back to these like essentialist ideas about gender and how even conversations like that can seemingly stir, what it means to be like a boy or a girl. And I think it's interesting how they tie it into the Keller character, because Keller is somebody who's kind of similar and, used to be non-binary, which is the kind of the thing that she continually brings
She
up.
brings up every other fucking sentence. I used to be
But
non-binary in college, and I had the buzz cut. I was thinking about getting on HRT, and yeah, I just got out of that. She says that sentence probably like 20 times in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, my point is with when I was being able to read the subtitles of the party, I realized that the other people, like, just how nasty some of the other people at the party are to her.
Yeah.
And I guess she's a complex character because she is kind of like, I mean, you could say she's annoying, or like, kind of she walks the line with like edginess, where sometimes she gets like really fucking like mean and like terrible.
Yeah.
But I also get this sense that she is kind of like lost, like somebody who also had like, kind of this queer world, but like felt like it wasn't working.
I mean, in the
And then
first
now is like trying.
no, finish
Yeah.
your thought. Sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say, like, trying to be like, I guess, get acquainted with normalcy now. But like people at the party fucking like hate her.
Yeah.
And I think that is like kind of like sad, because I mean, despite her edginess, it does seem like she is dedicated to ideas. And even though, like, there's a scene where they talk about that book, and there's sort of a very, like, I would say, Gen Z interaction where they're, like, testing the politics of what it even means to start, like, where they're, like, like, oh, it's the most popular book, so she's insecure about that, right? Um, or like, seems to get offended when people actually dismiss Helen Keller, right? She keeps saying, like, no, like, she did write a book, right?
Yeah.
There's just a variety of examples, like she's dedicated to certain ideas and wants to actually deliver on them, but it's kind of put her in a difficult position. And I mean, at the party, like people are being like sexist, and there's like a part where they start talking about like race science or whatever. I mean, it's kind of, even after rewatching it, it's kind of all over the place. But I think, yeah, I think that is moving. Like she is somebody who's in this heterosexual world who's just as lost. And I mean, that kind of makes it a bit more cutesy than it is, but it adds depth in my opinion.
Yeah. I think it's interesting, like the first film has a character that's trans that is like, a lot of her personality is like egging people on to be trans that aren't. And then in this film, you have someone that's a detransitioner that is like doing the opposite, trying to egg people on to detransition, right? It's just exploring characters that are like that and just that sort of concept, right? From both ends. There's a lot of things from both ends, and like you would think that like because Louise Weird is trans, that like it's being very obvious and clear like how you're supposed to take these sorts of things, but I feel like she almost leaves these things in a very like, she like presents these things in a way that they are, and like I really don't feel like she's trying to push an agenda down my throat at any given moment. I think that she's just showcasing things and presenting them. And I guess I don't know if we should talk about how this film ends, but it is kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess just one thing before we get to that, with depicting things as they are, as opposed to like what I was saying earlier, where in the first chapter, the like Twitter thing, where I do feel like it's kind of condescending in a way, or like I don't know, maybe I shouldn't stick by that statement, but I was more on the fence about how these conversations are being depicted. I watched the second one and I'm like, I've had these I've had these interactions before.
Yeah.
Like honestly.
Yeah.
And I think that adds power to the way that they pick the cult. Like even if it's kind of fucked up in a way, there are it's like yes, like these people do like kind of have each other, and they're like, there is like this love and solidarity, right, that's happening, which doesn't exist in the kind of like heterosexual world that's depicted, right?
Yeah.
Or like the normie world. Like everybody's out to get each other. Everybody is like, I mean, I'm not saying it's on a simple level, it's always like that, but I don't know. I mean, I think those are dynamics that exist. I mean, there's a part where, like, Circle is talking about how she used to be just angry as a guy, and Keller is like, "Oh, like, everybody should be angry. Like, everybody should be angry all the time with like the state of the world." And I don't know, I think that's like the sides of the character that I, add the depth, or like that feeling of being like lost or something, or like ways like our generation, like people have given up on certain like hopes. I mean, it also, I thought tying that into some of the characters in the cult, like Devin, right? I think when I rewatched it, I actually found that really heartbreaking, which I didn't even think
Yeah.
about. Maybe because I also had their names down better.
I
But
think
this is a character, yeah.
I think Devin, by the way, has between both of these films, I think she is like my favorite performance. Like, I think she just sells her character so fucking well, and like she has the most entrancing way of talking, and it fits her character perfectly. And she has like the most interesting side story in Castration Movie Part 2, and Part 2, I think, and just like, yeah, she's the one that stays around at the cult the longest, and like is offering to clean, and even Roxy, like the cult leader, is like telling her to leave and shit. In a way, she's more lost than Circle is at the end, because even if Circle is still lost throughout everything, at least Circle is like, at least she does something, to change her position that she's in, whether or not it's the right decision, right?
Yeah, I mean, because she's somebody who wants like this like solidarity, which is like a powerful feeling worth achieving.
Yeah.
But I mean, just at the end, and then the end, she just has nowhere to go. That's like fucking heartbreaking. And I mean, that is something that adds like a multi-angled dimension to this story and these worlds.
Yeah, definitely.
But I guess it does bring us to the ending, right? Where, well, I guess there's a part before the ending, which, I mean, oh my god, this is. Well, I'm just going for it now. I'm kind of losing. I was more coherent at the beginning, and now I feel like you can tell I'm getting lost in the sauce.
We're all lost. We're all Circle.
I mean, I was gonna say the ending, but that's skipping over like the hour-long like torture scene that happens. This is why it's good that I came back, because I think for most of watching the second one in theaters, I was so happy I came back. I was like, this is amazing. I got to the torture scene. It was pretty difficult. It was difficult to watch. I mean, at that point, I was so exhausted. The way it keeps going, the way that the phrase keeps echoing, that was destroying my mind.
Yeah, it's
Like the conflict is not abuse.
conflict is not abuse. Conflict is not abuse. I could not get that out of my head after watching it. Yeah. And then like I forget her name, like she takes out a bass guitar and starts fucking singing a song that's about everything that's
That was
going
genius.
on. I like that a lot. But yeah, I mean, isn't it kind of a cliche to like have someone sign a contract and then, oh shit, it actually meant you signed this? Because like Circle comes back to the basement after being at this party with Ivy Wolk, and after fingering her in the park and eating a burger, she's like, hey, I need to
We didn't even talk about the burger scene.
Oh yeah, where she has a burger for the first. Yeah, she fucking. It's the biggest 1-2 punch ever. She fingers Ivy Wolk in the park, and then eats a burger like she's never had a burger before in her life. But you can take that in multiple ways, and it'd be true, because she's like eating it with such passion, and it's just dripping all over herself, and she doesn't have a single napkin or any like water or anything. She just is eating this burger in an extremely messy way. It's awesome. And
that scene with an audience was hilarious.
and people get a kick out of that.
When she second burger, that's the hardest I've laughed at a movie, and I was losing my mind.
I forgot that happens. It's fucking awesome.
But just the comedic timing on it is brilliant.
I feel like they needed a way to get Circle back into the basement, and like the plot, the actual things that happen in the plot feel a little basic. Not that I'm looking for something crazy, but it's just like she's like, oh yeah, I left stuff. I need my cup that I used to eat hot dogs in and like a sweater or something. So she just goes back to the basement after having escaped, after having someone in there confront her at the party scene trying to like essentially physically pull her back, and then she like, you know, gets her out of there. I won't comment on that, on how that plays out, but I don't know.
Do you think it's kind of like more loaded than that? Is long? Like, does he need to return? Or am I reading too much into it?
I don't know.
Does he need to be there one last time?
Maybe she does want to be there one last time, but yeah, she ends up going there like presumably without telling Keller like, oh, like this is where the address is. Maybe she did though, because Keller just talks with her friend like, hey, yeah, like, you know, I met this girl that like really, you know, like, you know, not a girl, but one that like would be better as a boy, you know, because I used to be non-binary in college. And then like her friend is like, yeah, I know about this like trans drug cult thing. That's kind of fucked up. You should go save her. Even if they're both like being transphobic in that scene. There's a glimmer of hope. Okay, we can save Circle. And then Circle signs the document on top of this dog cage, ends up having to just be in this dog cage while everyone is yelling things at her. It's like splashing water on her, throwing hot dogs on her, screaming, spitting. It's uncomfortable, and it lasts a really long time, and eventually Keller shows up and is just like, what's going on? Like, what is this?
But I did come around to it the second time a bit, because when I was saying that unreality shit earlier, right? That scene to me best encapsulates it, because it has this crazy ability. Well, I guess I've already talked about this as well, but I think it's on display on the scene super well. The way it just immediately moves from being heartbreaking to just extremely funny is insane.
Yeah.
I was getting emotional when Circle's in the cage and like saying she wants to die, right? And then the camera literally just like goes from her to them ordering takeout.
Yeah.
It's so fucking
to
funny.
Roxy and her goon, like, so you want Thai food or Vietnamese food?
Even which is like, I mean, just the name alone, it's so on the nose that it's like, it's crossing the line at how ridiculous it is, right? To have Justice, the pedophile lawyer, is there. And it's just like, oh, like I'm gonna sign you into like this like contract, right? It's like cartoon shit.
It is extreme cartoon shit.
But I was more here for the same time because I realized, because even the song torture thing, it's just trying to depict, I feel like, the way like people can like psychologically torture, like, you know, being in a relationship with like a musician, they start writing songs about you. That's its own kind of like torture in itself.
I think the torture of Froggy Worm playing any music in the first one was much worse than this woman who was actually a competent musician. Yeah, I'm so sorry if somehow this makes it to the lead singer of Froggy Worm, but holy shit, some of those scenes in the first one where he's singing for a prolonged period of times, it's very real. It's very real having to sit through shitty acts, but holy shit, man.
That's what it means to support your scene, right?
But the producer, you know, Adeline, the Froggy Worm is a real band, right? So like Adeline does like the instrumentals and shit. They're so fucking sick. Like she's genuinely sick with it, you know? Like, and then you just have like the lead vocalist just singing these like theater kid like lyrics, like poet first, musician second sort of shit. It's just really unappealing, but I really liked all the music in Castration Movie Part 2, like all these bass and vocal tracks, super good. The music at the party is also really good.
Yeah, it's crazy when it's just looping. Like
Yeah.
that watching that the second time was that even the music that was really incredible.
Hell yeah.
Well, I want to say one other thing about random music stuff that I think is like kind of genius. I mean, when Circle goes to her old roommate Vicky's house,
Oh god.
they have this like kind of intense relationship, right? And Vicky sits down and starts playing "Sober to Death" by Car Seat Headrest,
Yes.
and I'm just like, that is like intentional. That is extremely like, but also it kind of has its own meaning.
Right.
Because I mean, right, like the twin fantasy, Will Toledo obsessed with I try to be careful how to describe it. I mean, it's about Will Toledo and like this kind of obsession, one way obsession he had with Kate
And
Wirtz.
Kate Wirtz drew
And
the
then
fucking poster for Castration Movie Part 2.
Oh right, yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. That is crazy. So to have that, like the call upon that in the relationship between Circle and Vicky, I feel like there's some sort of parallel.
It's definitely intentional, yeah. It's also probably just meant to be like funny. But
Yeah, but it is funny. It is like a funny thing
yeah.
to reference.
This movie's fucking insane.
Yeah, so saying I mean, even with with the song Torture, like that's just to me like kind of its own depiction of a certain form of torture, and but the way it goes into all of them copying each other's actions, and there's sort of like a power fight going on with when Circle starts like kind of becoming the dominant one, and everybody's copying Circle, and like Roxy has to try and take it over. Like, not only is that a great image of them all like on the ground, like sort of in sync, but that's something where I mean that does seem to call upon its own specific meaning when referring to the internet and echo chambers, if you would, and ways we influence each other, and it's all done in this sort of strange, slick way, which kind of enters that mode all of a sudden, and it's like a different state of thinking. And I do find that impressive, even though the torture is obviously difficult to watch.
Yeah. Well, what can even be said at this point besides like the ending?
I guess that we just worked our way to the ending.
And we're almost at 4 hours on the recording, which is funny. Like, if we can make it under the runtime of the first film as far as the recording goes, that would be good.
Yeah. Oh my god.
But the ending is like I've said before, it's heartbreaking.
I really teared up the second time.
Yeah, like you mentioned that Circle plays that song and the meaning that the song has to the story, but obviously, Circle being lost, she goes from this basement drug cult to meeting Keller. And Keller is a multifaceted character, but she's definitely like very adamantly transphobic against Circle, and keeps like egging her on to detransition. And even before then, Circle is talking constantly about how she wants to detransition. And then it just cuts to this scene after everyone breaks out and after like the cult dismantles itself. Keller saves Circle, and it just shows Keller shaving off all of Circle's hair, giving her a haircut, and then it cuts from that and they're on a train together. And well, like before they're on the train, they're at the station, but yeah, like she clearly takes the path of detransitioning and going for the girl, and sings a song, and then Keller's like recording the song on her phone, and then the movie just ends. and they show like what it looks like outside of the train, and it's like, what the fuck, dude? I don't know. It's sad.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Well, first off, I mean, that's a kind of modern gospel song. That's, I guess, it was written in the 10s or whatever, 1909, I think. But the it's been recorded in many versions, and my dad owns the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, which they named their album after that song, and they have a performance of that song. So it kind of took me off guard when it came on.
Wow.
And I mean, watching the ending, I mean, to me, like, I very much is calling upon The Graduate, right? And the ending of The Graduate, the big question is like, oh, these people got together, and they're going towards how their lives are supposed to be, right? Like marrying, like get the white picket fence family, and then of course fucking Simon and Garfunkel comes on, and you start questioning if they're actually going to be happy. And it was interesting that they called upon, like, the scene resembles that, because it's sort of the same emotion, but now like kind of from a queer view, right? Where it's like, Circle is going to go like live, is kind of going into that life as well, and like if they're going to be happy. Interesting about like the Keller character, like being the reluctant hero who saves Circle, but the question of like are they actually going to be happy together? And I think it's funny, like, I mean, even the way they're placed in front of the like they're sitting in front of a poster about finding work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that idea of like becoming this person just to fucking find a job and live. Like it really does to me circle back, like it opens with Trump, and it's like, I mean, these movies aren't very like, I mean, they kind of avoid being on the nose politically in some way, but it definitely sets the setting for like a cultural climate in the background, and those fears of like just doing the things you're supposed to do to have that, like, what people consider the successful life. It is very intense. And I think like hearing that song, it being kind of almost such an on the nose song, right?
Yeah.
But the idea of like, oh, like Circle D transition, but I've been continually referring to her with she her pronouns. But the idea that like, oh, I mean, like, has she like truly detransitioned, or like, is that like a fucked up thing to say, or like?
No,
I mean,
it's
this idea that those feelings are still there, like they keep going on within her.
that's the question, right? And
I mean, I think they said in the Q&A that they wanted to make a movie that was sympathetic to detransitioners,
really,
and yeah, I think that was an important thing to mention. And then, but I think there's also the acknowledgement that just like that shit isn't just removed. Like, you just won't become a man and get a job and have a wife and have kids. Like, that identity is it like in there.
yeah. Well, I think detransition is like a hard topic to tackle talking about, and that's interesting that you said that about that was like a goal that they had in mind when making this, because I didn't feel like it was like obviously the ending is sad and it's like emotional, but it's not really presenting this in a way where it's meant to be like a big gotcha moment or like anything that's like shoved down your throat, right? Because you can interpret it in a bunch of different ways. Like, I don't know, but like, is it better for Circle to detransition? Like, because she's clearly had a lot of those thoughts, and she clearly has had a lot of bad experiences in trans communities so directly, and like with many trans people in her life. I don't know. It sours a taste in your
It's
mouth,
really
and it's like she clearly has goals that uh, are kind of at conflict with each other.
yeah. That's why it's interesting to pair together, because like the sort of almost laden killed Keller being non-binary or like losing that world or something. I mean, now it's in both of them. And I think the scene we skipped over that really ties into it is when Peter Vack shows up, who plays Brody, who they go to Brody's apartment, and Brody has detransitioned, and they have. I would like to read the books they mention in these movies, because they start discussing these concepts in books, and in that one, Brody talks about how he used to be a girl and how, I mean, he was like happier as a girl, but he, detransitions because I think he says it's because, which ties back into like everything we've covered in these movies. He's like, oh, it didn't fix me being suicidal.
Right.
Right. And the idea is like this magic fix for that. But also like he admits like he was happier. And I feel like, I mean, that's kind of where Circle ends up. Like, I feel like, maybe, like he wanted to be or maybe it's like, I don't know. It's hard to talk about.
I don't think you're doing a bad job though. Like, and I think these movies are meant to spark these conversations. You should be talking about it, even if it's hard to. But I do wanna ask maybe a loaded question.
Yeah.
What is your gender identity?
I do identify as gender fluid. I don't really lean into it that much.
Okay, what was your gender identity before you watched these movies? I'm just kidding.
I'm also gender fluid. Which I mean, I wonder, like, I feel like I've been circling around this. I mean, I guess I do find the movie kind of relatable.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not, like, I've never transitioned or anything, but, like, I mean, just even, I don't want to seem like, inviting myself into worlds I haven't been in. But, I mean, just seeing, I feel like I have kind of interacted with both worlds.
Right.
And just seeing those different aspects, I think it does resonate.
And what what an amazing thing that a movie can make you feel. Like, can you think of another movie that's evoked those feelings and is like tackling these subjects in such a raw way and in such a way that like just feels new and refreshing and accurate and not shoehorned and not like from some executive that thinks they know what they're talking about? You know what I mean? I feel like that's like what these films are really good at, and I know that I'm going to be thinking about them for a long time, and I want to see them in theaters. I'm really jealous that you got to do that.
Yeah, I mean, just to have these films that are loaded that we can talk about for. I guess we talked about the SpongeBob movies too, but like for 3 fucking hours. That, I mean, they're not reactionary or dismissive. Like they're trying to navigate tough feelings.
Yes.
And I think they do it with at least some semblance of hope. I mean, maybe we haven't seen the other end of the tunnel, right? We're in the middle of the series.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, I hear that song at the end and I'm like, yeah, that is it's bittersweet, but that is kind of like, a hopeful song in a way, in its own form.
I think it's crazy that the actress actually fucking cut her hair, and you go on her Instagram and her hair is just short now. Isn't that kind of crazy?
Even that scene was like, the first time I was watching it, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, where like Keller doesn't, like, Ivy Wolk presumably just doesn't know how to fucking use a hair buzzer. Like, it's just like fucking ripping her hair to shreds. It's so good. I don't know. I've cut my hair for projects I've been in before, but it's still crazy, and it shows that the people involved in this stuff really fucking care about it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes for, it does produce a reaction,
What I think is very interesting about the rollout of these films is they've been doing these art house cinema screenings, which is awesome. But the way that you access these films is you buy them on fucking Gumroad, which is insane. You pay $5 and you get access to all of the Castration movies. And it's like Bandcamp where you can pay more if you want to. But they're not streaming on anything. They're owned by like a distribution company, or at least licensed through one to do those screenings. But it's like truly independent cinema, to the point where you can just fucking hop on Gumroad and like give Louise Weird $5 and she will give you the files for the movie. By the way, the file for the first movie is like 20 gigabytes and it looks like shit. And it's supposed to look like shit. But come on. Like, does it really need to be 20 gigabytes? Like,
That is insane. I don't have 20 gigabytes on my computer.
also, I think she got like the formats wrong for when she released it. I think she said it was like H.264, but it's some other weird shit. I don't know. I'm I'm not talking about the film anymore.
We're talking about the file format distribution.
But this shit needs to be on something. I know she made like, or is making Blu-rays for the Kickstarter, because we didn't mention it's a fucking Kickstarter movie series, which is also wild to me. But like, I don't even have a Blu-ray player. I've been thinking about getting like a PS3, but I would like a Blu-ray of this. I would like a physical of this. Maybe like once all 5 are out, then there will be like...
I wish I could just own all the movies that I really love. I mean, if it was someday.
Do you have a Blu-ray player?
Not here.
Well, I have a bunch of vinyl and I don't have a record player, but it's nice to have it in physical.
Yeah, I mean, dream the collection. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the distribution's been cool though. I think the kids yearn for a new kind of independent cinema, and in some ways, it's not. Well, I guess it depends on what circles you're in, or oh my god, the word is ruined. But yeah, no, where you're at. But there's this race to kind of make this new generation of independent cinema, and I hear about these other movies that are supposed to be sort of tie into the internet, and I get like scared by them, right? So I'm glad that I at least have something where I'm like, okay, like they are putting in the effort, and I think it's like paying off, and it does feel like a new wave in some way, even though it calls upon a lot of older stuff, and that's exciting. I mean, you want stuff that captures that.
It is exciting, and it feels like a movement. I will say I believe in Louise Weird. I think she's doing great stuff. I thoroughly enjoyed the second film. I liked the first film a lot. I will definitely be watching the whole series, and I'll be trying to catch them in the movie theater. It feels like for the past like week, we've been having a million conversations about these movies. At first, we were like edging ourselves, like, oh, we should wait till the podcast, and then eventually I was just like, no, fuck it. And I know that like we're gonna finish this and be like, wait, I didn't mention this, I didn't mention that, we didn't go down this road. And you know what? I think that just goes to show that like these are worth watching, and even if you don't like them, having these sorts of conversations and like just having this sort of stuff occupy your brain, I think is a good thing. I think they're doing great stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it took over my entire week, but it's kind of the same with the SpongeBob movie stuff. But maybe that's good. I'll remember January 2026, and I appreciate you taking this ride with me.
Absolutely, and I'll say my letterbox looks fucking insane. The most recently watched movies are like all these SpongeBob movies. Little Amelie is in there on the rewatch, and then it's just both Castration movies and nothing since then.
I literally got a comment on Castration Movie Part 2 where somebody was like, what the fuck are you watching?
Well, what do you say, Tin? Have we reached the end of this adventure?
Yeah, I think it's time to set course for a new week.
I guess next time we'll watch Dougal.
Anybody listen? Dougal and Wolfwalkers.
We'll watch Dougal.
Are we giving up on Wolfwalkers?
Dougal, Cinderella 2, Plankton's Virus, BFDI, Wolfwalkers.
Oh my god.
We got a lot of things to conquer.
Wow, what a list.
What were you saying to people that listen this far?
Oh, if you listen to all of this, I love you. Thank you.
I love every set of ears. And
Even if you listen to some of this, I love you.
unless you skip to the end, then I hate you.
I still love you. I think.
Go out and support
I
indie
forgive you.
cinema. Go rent a private screening of the Sandy Cheeks movie. This has been I'm exhausted.
I'm exhausted too. I started losing my mind halfway through this. I want to go more coherent during the SpongeBob sections, and then some way during the Castration movie, I got. Well, I said that already too. See, and now I'm just. I'm that lost. I'm repeating myself.
Good night, every pony. See you in the next one. Okay, I'm gonna stop it now.
Public display of sexuality. It includes kissing, petting, very intimate hugging and touching. It is not appropriate in school, church, and public institutions for straight people. It is tolerated for straight people on the street. It is less tolerated for gay people on the street. I think we should forbid straight people to intimately touch and kiss on the street, rather than allowing that to gay people. That way everyone are equal and everyone